it's on.
It's up to all. Hello, good evening. Blessings on us all. I want to welcome you to this town hall meeting, one that is here this evening to address an issue that is impacting all of us. And when I say all of us, that includes me, because contrary to belief, I still reside at Malvern Land, Edgecliff, St. John. So when constituents in St. John bleed, Charles Griffith bleed as well. When constituents in St. John hurt, Charles Griffith hurt as well. This is a vexing issue, and it is one that I have been trying to address, contrary to belief that I have not been fighting the cause. That is not the case, and I will prove that this evening. Contrary to belief that the Barbados Water Authority was avoiding this is not the case, and I intend to prove that this evening as well. I have been feeling the pressure just like everyone else. I have been talking to Minister Abrams. Minister Abrams has been communicating with me in relation to the situation that is going on in St. John. People believe that we are deeming this to be political. That is not the case. On Friday, I called and had a cordial conversation with the young lady that made the last video. Prior to that, I was in contact with the Barbados Water Authority to have a series of town hall meetings in St. John about this problem that we're having as it relates to the water problem. The first video, I believe, would have surfaced sometime in March. I was traveling, and when I came back, I immediately got in contact with Mr. Halliday, who is general manager of the Barbados Water Authority. About 3 weeks before that video surfaced, if you can push my mic.
Good evening, Minister Griffith. I'm Keith Roy, Halliday from the Barbados Water Authority. I just wanted to know the possible way for us to, if at all possible,
Can you hear this?
Put the earpiece close in.
Sorry at the beginning. This is a response to a request by me prior to the first video. And I want persons to understand that when this video came out, the first video in Sherwood, it also impacted me at a personal level. I have a daughter living in Sherwood. So to believe that we were pushing any kind of political agenda is a misnomer. Absolutely not true. This problem has been going on for a while. Every single morning, I wake up to in excess of 100 WhatsApp messages, not all dealing with the situation as it relates to water in St. John, but I have been responding to those messages. From Coach Hill to Gore Hill. 2 weeks ago, I was invited by members of the community in Gore Hill Terrace to a meeting at Gore Hill. And we had discussions in relation to how the water system and how the water is impacting them. So I am not in any way at all, averse to having this meeting, averse to having any meeting. COVID would have stopped that town hall meeting that was supposed to happen at Sherbourne. There was supposed to be a second town hall meeting here. Waterworks were prepared to come and sit and hear the problems, the vexing problems that all of us are having. Because I am acutely aware that when you don't have water flowing through that tap, how it impacts your life. Minister can tell you that at one point in time, I was putting day one, no water, in our political chat. Day two, no water. So I feel it as well. And I'm glad to see the numbers here because I understand the issues that we're having. Were you able to cue that? I just want you to.
I just wanted to know the
And the date on that is the 13th of March. So it is not a case, as you would be led to believe, that I was not on the job. It is astute leadership that brought us here as it relates to COVID. I have full confidence that the Water Authority will address your concerns this evening. The Honorable Minister Abrams is here. So I want to welcome you. I want you to know, a matter of factly, that I am part of the process. I am hurting just like you because I live in St. John. I want us to have a good meeting. I don't want to prolong my muffins. I will turn over to Stetson Bab, who you all know, and this is maybe breaking news, but Stetson Bab is chairing the meeting this evening. Over to you, Stetson.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stetson Bab. I was asked to moderate this session this evening, which is a communication session where the officials of the Barbados Water Authority and the Ministry of Water Resources will have a communication with you about the solutions, the causes and solutions to the issues that you have faced. And first of all, we want to acknowledge and introduce the panel, the Minister of Water Resources, Mr. Wilfred Abrams, the Acting General Manager, Dr. John Monson. I'm told and we apologize for the absence of the General Manager, who I believe is on sick leave. We also want to acknowledge the presence of the Chair of the Water Authority, Mrs. Leonie Worrell. And also on the panel will be the Director of Engineering, Mr. Charles Leslie, and the Water Quality Specialist, Mr. Alex Eiffel. So I just want to briefly, before we go into that session, just set the background in terms of the objectives and format for this meeting. This meeting is about, first of all, so we have some structures and some timelines. The meeting is about communication, clarity, solutions, service. Now, communication, because the Water Authority and the Ministry wants to engage you in a process of knowledge and understanding of the issues, causes, and impacts. Clarity, because it's important for communication to be effective, ensure that they transmit those ideas and that information in a manner that is honest, sincere, and concise. Now, solutions, because at the end of the day, people want their issues addressed. How the issues and concerns are being addressed, and service, the ongoing basis by which customers' needs and expectations are met by the quality of the experience at every touch point. And if you scan social media, well, I always do, but look back at a number of the comments that were made in relation to the stories that were published. The common thread, people are tired, quote unquote, of what they perceive as long talk. We are all aware you want solutions and you want them as soon as possible. So that's the background to this, and the officials here will seek to address your issues, concerns. Now, so the objectives, briefly, to achieve stakeholder knowledge, understanding of the causes of the challenges, to share with stakeholders the strategies and tactics for solving the problem, and to achieve stakeholder buy-in and perhaps patience as well as the problems are being addressed. Now, the format. We're obviously going to try to limit timelines because we know we have some busy people here and you also have your own business to attend to. So we'll try to set some timelines for each session. We'll have an introductory session, a panel discussion, about 40 to 50 minutes, where each of the panelists will make a presentation of about 5 minutes each. Then we'll ask them some questions. And then after that, very important, we get a chance for you to ask and put to them some questions, explain your concerns, and to seek clarity from them on the way forward. And we expect that session to last 40 to 50 minutes, and then we'll have the conclusion. So with that, again, good evening and welcome. Minister Abrams, some introductory remarks from you. And again, please forgive us, we are streaming this live on social media. So there's some technical things we have to do in relation to that. So there may be some passing around the microphone, so please excuse that as well.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to be here. I'm very glad to be here. We've attempted to hold the town halls in St. John to address the issues that everyone is facing, and for one reason or the other, we had to put those aside. COVID pretty much intervened in that process when we were about to start the first one, so the second one couldn't happen. In that time, I know that frustrations have risen, things have been very, very difficult for some people. Now, I will tell you this. I'm not coming here to make any excuses. I am not coming here to confuse you. I am not coming here to give you long talk. I am not coming here to pull wool over your eyes. I am here to answer your questions. The team is here to answer your questions. We're here to try to explain to you what is causing some of the issues that you may be experiencing. We're here trying to give you some idea as to what we're doing to address them, and if possible, some timelines for the addressing of these issues. I know people are frustrated. I know you're frustrated. I would be too. Actually, I am frustrated. Charles, I don't want to say that there's a rift between myself and Charles. I would tell you that my relationship with Charles is not what it once was, because Charles dutifully passes on all of the complaints of his constituents. He gets the frustration from you, and sometimes it's too much for one person to bear. And there's nothing political about this. Nothing political about this at all. And to suggest that there's politics at play in what is happening to St. John, I'd say is unfair. The reality is that 30 constituencies in Barbados voted for the Barbados Labour Party and this government last election. There's no need to politically victimize anybody. There's no aim. It doesn't make sense. We are the government of Barbados. We have to address the concerns of every single constituency. Every single person in Barbados is a constituent of one of us. I assure you, there is no political victimization here. Understand, I'm coming here in good faith to deal with your questions. Stetson, you earlier said that you wanted two tight timelines. To be honest, I'm going to stay here until the last person has answered the last question. Everybody that has a question to ask, that is actually looking for a solution or looking for information, I am prepared to try to answer your question, as is my team, as fully as we can. If there are people here pushing a different agenda, well, I will leave the moderator to deal with that. But I just want you to understand that we're here in good faith to try to hear your concerns, try to answer your questions, help you or include you in the plan so you know what is being done and the way forward and what we hope to achieve, and to just clear the air on everything relating to water in Barbados in general and in St. John in particular. And you have my word. We're not here to dodge you. We're here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Dr. John, I believe you may be able to use that.
Okay, good evening, everybody. The BW has a mandate to supply water to the whole island. And we take that very, very seriously. At the moment, the BW is experiencing problems in St. Lucie and St. Peter. We are experiencing problems in St. Joseph. We are St. Joseph, St. Thomas, St. Andrew, all those higher elevations, in addition to St. John. Now, the number of factors that contribute to the problems that we are experiencing, and the solutions do not rest in one. The multitude of solutions that the BWA has to look at in order to resolve the problems. The unfortunate thing is that every single one of those solutions costs money. Now, you know there are 4 utilities in Barbados. Light and Power for electricity, the 2 cell phone companies, and you have NPC. The unfortunate thing about the water utility is that our pipes are all underground. Every single road has 1 or 2 pipes in there. So if you look at the utilities, the utility that requires the most money to survive is the water utility, anywhere in the world. But unfortunately, in our case, the utility that requires the most money to carry out its mandate is the one that has the least finances available to it. I joined the Water Authority in 1991, so I've been involved in a number of negotiations and projects to try and find solutions. Because of the limited finances that the Water Authority has, where we are not even able to cover the operational expenses, we have limited financing to cover capital projects. Most of the projects that we have done from since 1994 have depended on loan financing, except for 1 or 2 PPP where we have contracted with private contractors to provide solutions. But most of the time, most of the work that we have done has depended on financing from the IDB, the European Investment Bank, the CDB, and most recently, the Latin Development Bank, as well as the European Investment Bank, and we have gotten some grant financing from the Global Environmental Fund. And each one of those funding programs takes at least 4 years to negotiate. You might have seen us last week at Bommerston celebrating the signing of a new loan, which is looking at upgrading some of our pumping stations, replacing some of the mains, and putting in some of the renewable energy, as well as preparing a master plan to provide water and wastewater services. So we now have a situation where, in order to solve the current problems, there are a couple of things we have to address. One, we have to address the water mains. Most of our mains are pretty old. Some of our mains date back to 1856. And some of our mains are cast iron pipes, which in terms of lifespan had the best lifespan, 140 years. The pipes that we have now, the ductile iron pipe, as well as the PVC pipes, and the new high-density polyethylene pipe that we just put down on the spring system, they all have a lifespan of 70 to 80 years. I'm mentioning that because we need to understand, in order for us to be on top of things, the BWA will need to have adequate financing to be able to carry out its mandate in full. And that funding, we have been told, we have to generate. The government has previously guaranteed our loans, and they may continue to do so, but we have to pay back those loans. So in terms of putting solutions into place, the BWA has a big load on its shoulders. We are replacing mains. We have to find additional water. We have to modify the distribution network such that we could transfer water from areas that have to areas that don't have. Unfortunately, riding on top of that is climate change. Previously, if you look back, we had a drought in 1993, followed by a drought in 1994. Then we had a good 95, 96. We had a drought in 1997. The next drought was in 2003. The drought that we are dealing with now started in 2015. So we are still continuing with that drought. The rainfall that we had in 2019 was not normal. It was below average. So it's a combination of measures that we have to put in place. And Mr. Leslie, the Director of Engineering, is going to speak to the projects that we have put together to try and address some of those issues.
Leslie, Director of Engineering, is that you?
Yeah.
No, just switch, right? Switch.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
That's what I was going to suggest, being that sure. But before Charles gives his contribution, we'll also to, it's almost a logical, sort of very pointed question that saw social media from a resident of St. John. So you can put this paragraph there. It said, okay, here we're, you repeatedly use this, state this as one of the key reasons why the water supply is disrupted. But the drought affects all of our areas. Why are people of St. John, St. Thomas, and those areas, rural areas, is suffering? And therefore, we're here to supply the water to all of our areas. To address that concerns, people of St. John want to avoid us. To listen.
You know, in Barbados, we're not like Trump. We understand science and we try and follow science. The topography of Barbados is such that the highest amount of rain falls in the central part of the island. The top 1/3 of the island is what generates enough rainfall to produce the water resources that we require. But the lay of the land is that all that water drains downhill towards the coastline. So the majority of the water supply is along the coastline and within the St. George Valley. And when it gets to the coastline, it actually ends up floating on top of seawater. So when you pump from that lens of water, you have to be careful that you don't overpump it and bring in salt. We have 23 wells that we operate in Barbados by the Water Authority. 5 of those are inland. Bomeston, the 2 Sweetville boreholes, the 2 Sweetville wells, and then you have Upperwoods, and which one is inland? Those are the ones that are inland where there is no seawater on top of them. And unfortunately, they are the ones that feel the impact of any drought first, because the water drains downhill. And then we have to pump it back inland. So what we find is that most of the areas that have been experiencing problems are areas that are located inland. And as I indicated, that is why we are setting up and making adjustments to our network such that we have additional booster stations, not wells, additional booster pumping stations to push that water inland in order to be able to meet the problems inland. Additionally, we need to increase our capacity. Industry standard is that you need to have 10 to 20% more water than your demand, so that when you get impacted by drought, you could draw on that. So part of the solutions that we have to implement requires for us to do that.
Mr. Leslie, can you speak then to the technical solution? What specifically is being done to mitigate and to address these issues? I mean, do you hear me? That's it. Charles, as the director engineer, can you speak to what specific measures are being introduced, technical measures, to mitigate and solve these issues? And the timelines, when can the people of St. John expect to see measurable results?
Okay, good evening, everybody, and thank you for having us here in St. John to share with you information on what we're doing to our distribution network and to improve the quality of the water and the supply of water coming into your area. As Dr. Monsa indicated, or our acting general manager indicated, the solutions to the problems at these higher elevations are multi-pronged. We, as he indicated, our network is aged. Some of our mains are very old and we have to replace those, and we have been looking at this in stages. So we've been looking at the replacement of our mains, we've been looking at the increasing of booster stations, as Dr. Monsa was saying, and we have been doing it in a staged process. For instance, over the last couple of months to years, we've been replacing a lot of mains in the St. John area. If you're moving around, you would have noticed that we've replaced mains from Coach Hill to Colleton. That's about 300 meters. From Gull Hill to Coach Hill, we've also replaced those mains as well. That's about 2,600 meters. In Welchtown, we're doing a replacement there in Welchtown. We are actually going to be starting to do a replacement in Churchview as well, going down Newcastle. From Colleton to Gull Hill, we've been doing some replacements there as well. So all of these replacements that we are doing in terms of mains replacement, these are mains that we have identified over the years have been giving us problems. Even with the existing water that we have in the system, what we've found is that every time we do leakage detection, we recognize that in those specific areas we have bursts. So when we do get water into the system, it leaks out. And our approach is that we have to do the replacement of the mains so that when we move additional water into the system, that water is not lost through leakage in those systems. Additionally, we have been looking at the reliability of the pumping stations, the stations that supply the area with water. And to do that, to increase that or improve that reliability, what we've been doing is adding standby generators to those locations. So for instance, at Bowmanston, we've been getting lots of power outages there, so we've installed a standby generator, and that has been operational for a couple of months as well. In these two Sweetville boreholes, we've installed standby generation there as well. And on top of that now, we're looking at bringing additional water from some of those areas that where water exists. So for instance, we have wells in the Groves in St. Philip. We recognize that those wells are not as badly affected as the ones up here in St. John. And what we're doing is moving some of that water from Groves in St. Philip through into the St. John area. That particular project is actually about to start in a couple of weeks' time, and you will be seeing mains being laid from Vineyard in St. Philip all through to Mount Pleasant, and then from Mount Pleasant all along the main roads up here to Colleton. Additionally, That's one source that we're looking at adding additional water into the system. We've been also looking at upgrading our desalination plant. You would have heard that the desalination plant at Spring Garden was upgraded last year. We've increased the desalination process there, and we've moved from 30,000 cubic meters today to 4,500 cubic meters. And we are moving that through Lancaster, through Apesville, into the Casa Grande area. As Dr. Monza indicated, the rain falls, the water goes to the coast, and we have to bring it back into the interior of the island. And that whole process takes time. We are currently doing that on the western side, but we want to improve that again, and we're going to be upgrading some stations that move the water. So like at Lancaster and Apesville, we're also going to be upgrading those stations in a couple of months' time to bring more water and to make the system more reliable. So you have then redundancy in terms of pumps. In total, all of the mains replacement that we are doing, focusing in this particular area, in the St. George and the St. John area, we're going to be looking at approximately 45 million Barbados dollars in terms of mains upgrades. In terms of the standby generators that we have installed, we're looking at about $500,000. And in terms of the pumping station upgrades, this is the pumping stations at Lancaster, Apesville, and as far back as Lazaretto, we're looking at about $1.2 million upgrades in those pumping facilities. So in total, to address these problems up here, we're going to be spending in excess of 45 million Barbados dollars. And as Dr. Monso said, the mains replacement, the upgrade of facilities, upgrade of the water infrastructure is a very costly process, and it takes time to do that. And we fortunately have been able to get this money to be able to do this. It's not going to be able to replace everything in our network, but it is is a targeted approach. It's looking at those areas that are giving us the most problems, and it's looking at transferring water from those areas where there is some excess water back into the areas that are currently experiencing problems. So those are the solutions that we have been looking at in terms of upgrading the infrastructure.
The key question here as well is, those are very extensive, impressive, and costly solutions, and people need to look forward to the results. But the question people will be asking is, okay, fine, but tomorrow I wake up and have no water. When can I have this?
Okay. You want to answer that?
Okay. There is no magic wand. I will not sit here and tell you the impossible. For us to transfer water from Vineyard into St. John, it is a 5 to 6 month project. So we will get that water here by December, January.
We are all aware of the situation. We said that we are happy with much from the world. We can share both sides more effectively and get the solutions more effectively if we are civil and allow other chances to speak. So I will curtail my own question and answer session because we're eager to get to the audience. But just let's do that in civil fashion.
I think the other point that needs to be made is that none of these solutions can be done by just waking up one night and starting to work. For example, for us to put up the tank that we're looking to put at Mount Pleasant, one of the things we have to do is conduct geotechnical studies to ensure that the ground at that location can carry the weight of the tank that is going to be placed there. In addition, we need to get town and county planning approval for us to construct the tanks or any pumping stations. The only element that the BWA can do without looking for town and county planning permission is the installation of the water mains. We are exempted from seeking town and county planning permission for putting in water mains. And for some of the solutions, depending on the size of the project, we are also required to conduct environmental impact studies. I mentioned the fact that a lot of these projects we've had to seek loan financing. Anytime you seek loan financing from an international agency, one of the things they are going to ask for is an environmental impact study. They want you to do a social impact study, which looks at gender as well, and they want you to do a feasibility study to justify your project. So that is why part of the process for getting to the final implementation stage takes so long. But as I indicated, for the Vineyard project, we actually now have money in hand. We have done the majority of the preliminary work. We had meetings with contractors to cut the trenches on our behalf last week. We have agreed on the cost of that trenching, and we are going to assign several contractors in order to expedite the process. Even though we had one contractor who had the best price, and we had one that was double the price. If we had given the work to one contractor, it would have taken us forever to put a solution in place. So we are going to use 5 or 6 contractors to expedite that work. So you have to bear with us. We understand the problems we are going through. We also are going through similar problems, because every day when I go to sleep, I wake up at night and say, I wonder what is happening tomorrow. How am I going to get that water to St. John? How am I going to get that water to St. Lucie? So bear with us. The time may seem long, but that is the best we can do.
I want to open the floor to questions, but again, Amaris has a strong reputation and tradition for orderliness and what we all spirit of this. I know that's not going to stay here again tonight. Now we can have conversations in the civil matter. So we can always disagree, but it's important that we do so in a polite and civil manner. We all agree on that? We know there's some fundamental background that we can do, right? So when I ask you to leave, those who want to ask questions, please indicate, raise your hand, maybe perhaps you can introduce yourself and ask us your question, please. Sir? When you look at you have to introduce yourself and ask a question. I'm trying to make sure everybody has a chance to have a say, right?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Rob Brennan. I travel and I see things that can be done. It seems like the Barbados Authority just look away from these problems. Now, in Miami, for instance, which about everybody go to Miami, and if they're building a complex, you usually see them make a lake, catching the water, cleaning the water into the building, out of the building, and back into the building. Now, we have water here where it seems like the sea is so thirsty that we can't get water. Okay? I believe, and I know of as a child coming up in St. John, where there used to be, I can't call it lakes, all right, but there used to be spots where water used to settle, where we used to even go and fish there, all right? You never had this kind of problem. But allowing the water to go to the sea to bring it back out seems to be a solution for y'all. Now, we have, you can see our potholes there. We have Bob. We have Clifton Hall Woods right across. All these places have spring water, water's running, going to the sea. Nobody seems to think that you can harvest this water. Even Wakefield there, a couple of years ago, Wakefield show you all how to harvest water. Yeah, that water was for the gardens and so on. All right? But just a simple solution. Now you said, oh, I'm cutting off the pipe between so and so and say around the truck. What you tell everyone to do? Harvest water. Why can't you all use the same steps? Away from that, I know of a company where all this cutting the road that you could eliminate, okay? Where shoots the same plastic pipe through the existing pipe about 300 feet without breaking up the road and waiting for this and waiting for that. All these is things that can be investigated and do and solve the problem. But you say you was here from 91. From 91, and we still have the problem into 2020. That means that we're not moving, we're not doing anything sensible. We're not doing anything sensible. A problem lasting that long? No, you all need to clean the wells. There are wells all around where now the tops and the trees and everything fall into. That used to harvest the water to keep the water on land. These things are not being done. But then we got here about this 45 million and this big money. I'll give you some. Let me show you how to do it. It's ridiculous for all these years to be coming back to the same problem. We heard, I came back here in 82. I heard about governments taking the money from the waterworks because it wasn't using them and putting them.
Because we want to hear the panel, but we also want to respect the people on the floor who are asking the questions. We want to hear, he's raising some interesting questions about water harvesting, for instance. We want to get the benefit of what he's saying. So if you just allow him to say what he's, make his presentation, please. Go ahead, sir. No, I'm not saying, I'm asking the audience. Just the whole release so that you can have your say, and then they can have theirs as well. All right? So you can conclude your statement, and then you'll have a reply.
I'm just making solution. I'm making suggestions and solution.
Exactly.
Okay? So
What do you want?
you're talking to the mic is echoing back. It's, but anyway.
Okay.
No, there are numbers of things that can be done.
Right.
No, for instance, you have people from the ministry come into a neighborhood. Now, there are people that have been living there for years and years. They don't want to come with a blueprint and say, this is what's going to happen. Whether you like it or not, this is what's going to happen. Okay? They do not come in the neighborhood and try to find a solution. All right? These things, I mean, I'm sick and tired of hearing about all this money being spent. All this money being spent and still you're no place. But it don't make any sense. People will go to the sea and with a bucket and dip water and walk home.
You made some interesting points, Thank you for your contribution, but you provided, you finished? Thank you, sir. Very good. The gentleman's vote is a very interesting issue of water harvesting options, of use of local knowledge.
I am glad that he started off with the example of Miami, because you could drink water in Barbados from the tap. You would not drink water from the tap in Miami and not get sick. If you look at the infrastructure, the water infrastructure in the US, it is in worse condition than it is in Barbados. They actually, and you could go and Google it, don't take my word for it. The US needs more than $1 trillion to upgrade their water infrastructure. for them to be able to produce water that you could drink straight from the tap. And this small island of Barbados has been able to achieve that. Despite all the problems that we are experiencing, that is one thing we need to be proud of. You also commented that many years ago, the water used to pond. Why is it that it doesn't pond anymore? It is because the climate has changed and the landscape has changed. What used to be ponds have been filled in, and the water then runs off. And he was correct when he said the drainage wells have trees growing in them. The drainage wells are a lot of them are on private lands, and the private owners are responsible for clearing and cleaning those drainage wells. We actually are looking at how we could get them to do that. It is a collaborative effort that is being addressed between the drainage unit, because the enforcement of the cleaning of the drainage wells falls under the Flood Protection Act, which is under the Ministry of Transport and Works. Additionally, the drainage wells that are on the side of the roads and in developments, those are maintained by MTW. Ministry of Agriculture has an incentive scheme to help those farmers clean the wells. So we are reviewing those aspects of it to ensure that we can clean those wells and get more water to get into our groundwater and recharge our aquifer so that we have more water. People talk about springs, and when you see a spring running on the ground, it looks like a lot of water. But one of the things you will notice is that anytime you have a drought, one of the first things that dry up or reduce flow will be the springs. If you look at the spring at Port House now, and you look at it when it has during the rainy season, you will see a reduced flow. If you look at the one at Bath, you will see a reduced flow. You look at the one at Cordington College, and I know that some people might ask, why is that water running out to the sea from Cordington College? In 1997, the Nyabingis got a United Nations funded project to grow organic crops. And so that resource was assigned to them to irrigate the crops. And we have to recognize, as much as the BWA Act says the priority in terms of water supply is for us to ensure we produce domestic water, we still have to eat. So people have to grow crops. So it's not that we're not looking at the solutions. We see the solutions, but some have to be implemented by the Water Authority, some have to be implemented by other agencies and at an individual level. If you capture water from the roof, you could use it to flush the toilet, and we are going to amend the plumbing code to allow you to use that water in the house, which is not allowed at the moment. Government has given approval for us to do that, so that you could use that water to flush your toilet and use it for non-potable uses. When you do that, there's less demand for potable water, and so we should be able to provide you with more water for you to drink and cook with.
To add or to enlighten you as to the type of technologies that we are using, you indicated that in some parts of Miami they use pipe bursting, where they put a machine through and burst the pipe and put in. We've been trying those technologies in Barbados. In 2015, we actually tried pipe bursting, we tried directional drilling. We did pipe bursting on the eastern coast, where we replaced that main. When we tried it in areas with rock, coral rock, those technologies don't work. They work in Miami. Miami is like a river basin. So when you do the pipe bursting, the soil is soft enough that it moves. In our Coral Rock, it doesn't work. We tried it in Tweedside Road and some of those areas, and we actually had to abandon that idea and then go back to the traditional cutting of the trenches. So we know of the technologies and we are aware of the locations that they can work in across the island, but we have to apply them differently at different locations.
Thank you, Charles. Professor Jama, I will get back to you for a follow-up question, and let's try to get some of the others, give them a chance to share as well. This lady here, thanks. Please identify yourself.
Hello. Yes. Okay. Good evening to everyone. Good evening. I am from Bathland St. John, or Welch Village, St. John. And we are some of the fortunate few to get some hours of water daily. So we get water probably between 7 and 11 every day. We are very fortunate. Let me start by saying that. I want to also say thank you for the explanation that was made earlier about the funding and so on that is necessary to have the pipes laid and so on. What I will say to that, however, is the majority of St. John constituents cannot grasp that concept because we are without water. We cannot understand it because we are without a vital need. So for you to say that it is this amount of money and the next amount of money to get things done, we pay a water bill every month. There's an added tax every month. We pay our taxes in other areas every month. So for you to sit and say to us that, you know, this is the budget, this is what we have, it doesn't correlate to what we're thinking because we have a need for water. 1. 2, if it is that you have a situation that water is a problem, what we would need for you to do is to provide a timeline that we can work with and speak to us about that timeline. Do not sit in offices or go on air and speak to us from there. Have somebody come on and speak to us. Let us know, hey, this is what's happening, this is what didn't work. While you might think that that may be wasting time, it helps us to feel included in decisions that are being made. Okay? Additionally, if it is that water tanks have to come out, again, Bathland, St. John, we have water tanks. Again, we are grateful for those. But there are places in St. John that get water at 10 and 11 o'clock in the night. You really think that that kind of thing is right? You think that the attitude that persons that bring water should be of such that you are a bother to me? You think that when persons call water authority and say, well, I don't have water at this present moment, can you give me an update? Well, obviously the reservoirs are full back, so you can't get water. It is not necessarily the fact that we don't have water. Sometimes, you know, sometimes it's the attitude that you are met with every day from persons that have to provide this service. It is not good enough. It isn't good enough. So if it is you're saying to us this amount of money is being spent in technology, this amount of money is spent in machinery and things that need to be done, you need to also spend money in persons that have to speak to us and deal with us on a daily basis. Number 3, you said that you're laying pipes, right? I have videos in my phone and I refuse to put them up on social media because I realize that it's a work in progress. Barbados Water Authority and whoever else is in contract with these persons that are laying the pipes, they're laying the pipes and repaving half of the road. What sense does that make? You are laying the pipes and repaving the part that has been laid. So the other part remains as it was, which is disgusting. Disgusting. And Bathland, St. John, Welch Village, I have been alive for 30 years. My mother was married for 33 years. She came to St. John 35 years ago, and the road is still the same. Why is it that it takes so long for Water Authority, MTW, and government offices, they fall under the same branch, whether they're run by a board or not, to work together to get a solution? It bothers my mind. It boggles me because I cannot understand how you are under the same umbrella the same umbrella, and we are looking into getting the persons to clear the trees that are growing out to the wells. What do you mean? You're looking into it. Why is it so hard to have a sit down and meeting? Let's get this done. Let's get this done. The tax, can anybody tell me how much money was collected from the added garbage, the solid waste tax? Wasn't it millions that was collected, or am I incorrect? Okay, you were talking about millions that is required, right? But I understand that you're saying that the money is required, you have to get it from somewhere else. Why is that? Why is that? These are questions that we need to have answered, because if it is you sit and you make decisions without including, as the gentleman said it correctly, you do not include the people in St. John. You make decisions and leave us completely out of the loop. It is not good enough. It is not good enough. You have persons, we had a meeting at the church that I attend. Barbados Water Authority did not have the decency to show up. When they were saying to us, when they were speaking about what would happen, you know, in the months ahead, they said they couldn't come, whatever that meant. Infrared was there, but they said a representative from nobody at Barbados Water Authority could come. Nobody. It takes days sometimes to get a burst pipe fixed. I went to work for 6 o'clock a day last week. 6 a.m. That means I had to be on the road for 5:30 to get to St. Michael. A pipe was burst in St. George, which y'all say the majority of water flows to, right? Okay, I came back home after 6 and that pipe was still burst. There is no 24-hour hotline for Barbados Water Authority. And even when there's somebody supposed to be there, no one answers the phone. These are things you need to address. There are leaks. These leaks wasn't no start. They haven't no started. These are things that should have been addressed before. We have to stop being reactive as a government and heads of places and be more proactive. Why is it that we have waited to this point to get a solution? And I understand people have been working behind the scenes. I get that and we appreciate it. But our issue remains, we do not have water. It is not good enough. And again, I say, the very fortunate few that get it are grateful, but you cannot wash before you look when the waters be off. You know what's washing sheets and towels by hand, and y'all can understand what that feels like? Anybody knows what it feels like at this panel? Anybody? I'm talking about the board. Anybody up front here? You can sit and you can say what you need to say about funding, but the issue still remains. Fix the solution, find a solution and include us in it. Do not sit, don't wait till it gets to this point where tensions and people want to be outside cussing and carrying on. It should not have gotten to this point. Should not. Thank you for your time.
Concerns very clearly, frankly, articulately put forward. There's a reason why the theme and the focus I mentioned on the technical solutions of customer service at all the various touch points. So we're hearing issues of the need for immediate redress or some articulation of what those timelines would be. The customer service interaction was also mentioned, which also includes the response time to complaints, correct? So, Charles, you want to address just one?
I want to thank that young lady for the presentation. It is about the passion of St. John. The aspect that I can answer directly is the fact that when I became MP, one of the first roads that I asked to be fixed in this constituency is Barflan. And Infra is doing a lot of the work that you see across St. John as it relates to the trenching and not necessarily BWA. But your road, rest assured that your road in Welch Village will be fixed at some point in time in the near future.
Hold on, again, promised ourselves that we would be polite and civil orderly, so we've had some very good contributions. So let's keep that going. Minister, you want to make a contribution?
Yes, I want to thank the young lady for her very straight presentation, and I'm going to give you equally straight answers. Now, let me deal with the one up front, the communications aspect. I agree with you. The Water Authority's communication is not what it should be. No, hold on, just hold on. It is a work in progress. No.
All right, again, please just give him a chance to make his point, and then we'll let you have a chance.
I'm glad the gentleman, thank you. Now, we came in and the communication at the BWA was poor. There was no other word to explain it other than poor. Now, I think everybody will have to be fair and say that the level of communication is significantly better than it was.
I have no gavel, so there's no order in the court. Mr. Continue, go ahead.
Coming out.
Please. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
I am telling you up front from here, it needs work. I am telling you that we have tried a number of things to improve the communication. I am also telling you that I don't think we're there yet. Let me deal outside of the actual broadcast communication, notifying you about outages and whatnot. Let me deal even further than that. Let's go to the issue that is bothering a lot of people. The faces of the Barbados Water Authority, the people who interact with the public on a daily basis. I agree with you. It is hard if you have no water and then you think, or you are met with what you perceive as insensitivity from the people who are supposed to be helping you. I make the point all the time, and I've made it to the chair. While, let's use a driver. A driver may be driving for the whole day, and you might be his 100th customer. The fact that you're his 100th customer does not mean that he should be able to show frustration to you, because he's your first driver. So he may have seen 100 people. You've seen the one person that's supposed to be bringing you water. And the point has to be made, we are in the business of supplying water. It is a service. And we have to treat people as our customers. Bringing water to you cannot be an inconvenience to us. It is a part of our business. It is a part of our service. I've spoken to the chair. We have been dealing with this since last week. Starting this week, it might be a little bit late, but starting this week, there'll be training for the persons who are frontline people for the Barbados Water Authority, how to deal with customers, how to respond to people's frustrations, what is the appropriate response, how to get the information without being offensive. There are members of the union here, there's some members of the Barbados Water Authority here, right? It is a work in progress. We're not going to get it all right in one, but we continue to work at it to try to improve your customer experience. So you raised specifically the issue of the drivers. We are dealing with that, because if you are already frustrated, let me even say you, if I am the person who has not had water for a couple of days and that truck comes, then I don't care. I do not actually care what issues the truck driver had before he got to me, or the person servicing me had before they got to me. What I take away is how they deal with me straight. And that message needs to go home as well to the persons who are the face of the Barbados Water Authority. And I think that the management of the Barbados Water Authority has heard that one loud and clear, and you should be seeing some improvement in that effective immediately. Let's address that first one. With respect to the reinstatement of the roads, we find ourselves in a very difficult position. The Water Authority is unable to actually itself reinstate the roads after it deals with digging them up or repair work. What happened previously was that the Water Authority had certain contractors. So if they went out tonight to fix an emergency, then they would notify the contractors. The contractors will come the next day and reinstate the road and do it properly. Our difficulty has come in is that we are completely cash-strapped. The Water Authority, by the end of 2018, owed everybody, and none of the contractors that we had going to reinstate the roads were willing to reinstate the roads unless they got cash up front. So that is the problem. So we have situations where you may call and say there's a burst main out by me. We can't wait to fix your main until we can guarantee somebody's coming behind to reinstate the road properly. If that's the emergency, then we have to go and fix it. So that's why you sometimes see the cans around the holes. It is not the ideal situation, but we have to deal with the emergencies as they arise. We are working on that. We've reached an agreement with the Ministry of Public Works to do the road reinstatements. They have asked us to stop filling back in with the dirt because it makes it difficult for them and it makes it unstable. So they actually want us now to leave the holes. They're going to try to get to them very quickly, but they want us to leave the holes so they can backfill and compact and do it properly. So that one is being addressed as well. Ma'am, I can tell you that if we fix a burst on your road, we can pave the whole road, because that is beyond our capacity in the Water Authority. And the Ministry of Public Works has its own road program. Sometimes we just have to patch and deal with things in the ordinary scheme of things. All right. With respect to the well cleanings and the enforcement in relation to that, if you go around Barbados now, you will see, if you don't mind there, if you could just step slightly aside so I can see the lady. Sorry, I want to speak to her directly.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yes, ma'am. If you drive around Barbados, you'll see in many parts of Barbados now, they've started clearing the drainage areas. They're clearing the wells, trying to capture. We are working with the Ministry of Agriculture to try to get all of the wells cleared. What I would like for people who are hearing this, we don't know the location of all the wells. We can deal with the ones that we see, or if the flooding issues that we go and investigate, we realize it's a blocked well. But if you know of wells in your area that are blocked, they've been filled in, they're blocked with rubbish, they have trees growing on them, please contact the Water Authority. We're going to give you the contact information so we can actually address those as well. But there is now a comprehensive well cleaning program. We're building check dams. We're trying to water harvest. If you go all around the country, you're actually going to see it happening. So we are acting on that one as well. It's a lot that we're trying to do. And I agree with you entirely. We have not been good in our communication because you probably don't know that is happening. But it is. And Chair, you need to get that out to let people see what it is that's actually going on behind the scenes. So for those who can hear me, if you know of wells that are blocked, that are causing flooding or not taking water, then please let us know so we can target those. And if they're on private lands, enforce the cleaning of it.
Please go ahead.
Good evening.
Hold a minute, please. Those on the outside, everyone on the outside, can please just hold it down a bit because it's affecting the capacity of the people inside to communicate with each other. Thanks very much. Go ahead, ma'am.
I have a couple concerns. If my memory serves me correctly, weren't there 2 contracts awarded for desal plants? What is the position with those?
David, that's right.
Yeah, there are
Okay.
a couple concerns that I have.
All right. So, with respect to the desal contracts, we came into government in 2018 and we found the Water Authority in a position where it could not sustain itself. We had debt that we could not possibly attempt to deal with. We went through systematically and looked at every single contract that the Water Authority was engaged in. We were able to renegotiate some of them. we managed to bring our debt obligations down significantly. But the 2 desal contracts that you were talking about, had we continued with those would have resulted in expense to the Water Authority, debt to the Water Authority of $100 million per year.
We've been pushing down and buildings considerably over the past year. We've been pushing down this, we've been pushing down that. We're building the Hyatt, we're spending money on regathering. Why is St. John not given a priority? Why are we not deemed a priority? Been spending all of this money in water bills.
But ma'am, St. John and the northern parishes are a priority.
To build these projects, I think someone mentioned about $45 million. To push down the NAS building cost government perhaps about $12 to $30 million. Pushing down Miss Ram building cost a whole set of money, and we're still at the same point. This is not satisfactory.
Okay, so allow me to just address that. So I am not saying that the desal contracts that were there would have cost us $100 million. I'm saying this would have increased or already crippling debt by $100 million every single year. There was no way that the Water Authority could actually honor those contracts. Had we continued with those contracts, the Water Authority would have gone completely bankrupt. Entirely bankrupt. Now, desal is still on the table. The persons who would have had those arrangements, we are in discussions with them trying to negotiate what is the best price we can do to deliver the contemplated service. Desal is a part of our future. Desal is coming. It is, however, not coming at that cost because we simply cannot honor it. I would be the most reckless minister in the history of government to continue with an arrangement that is going to put an already bankrupt company $100 million further in debt every single year. We are trying to find the best solution to get the water to you. We're trying to find the best option for the desal plants. And we're going to be transparent. When we're in negotiations, before we enter those, we're going to come to the people of Barbados and say, look, this is where we are. It's going to have to be approved by the Cabinet of Barbados because we're going to have to get money for it. So it is coming. Desal is a part, realistically, with the climate situation being as uncertain as it is, the only way to guarantee a steady supply of water if the rain doesn't come is to go with desal. We accept that. We did not take it off because we thought it had no place. We did not take it off because we wanted to spite the people in St. John. We had to put those contracts to one side because we simply could not afford another $100 million every single year when we cannot even pay the bills that we have now. We are working on it as quickly as we can.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Jennifer Waldron. I'm from Collington Lane, St. John. Okay, you established that we have a problem with the water. A solution. The water truck drivers that are coming out, we need to have a more strategic way to know where we are getting water. Another thing we need, a shift system. Having a guy work the morning from 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock. As you say, by the time it's 8 o'clock, he's going to get frustrated, tired. So by the time he gets to us now, and something may trigger him off so we can get the brunt of it. So a shift system needs to be put in place. Instead of having one person work from morning to night, we need to have a more strategic method in how the water trucks come out. At the present moment, water trucks came through Collington, but there were not enough water on the truck. So we ain't getting the water for the day yet, so we're still waiting. So there is another, it's just a thought that we could put in place to have a better routine to know so we know, well, the water truck is going to come up between this time and this time, so, right, so we'll have a better idea, because some people are not at home at day, some working, so by the time we come home for the night, we need water also.
On the system for the truck rotation, as I said, the union is here as well. We are trying hard to nail down the shift system, effectively a 24-hour system for the essential parts of the Barbados Water Authority. All of that we're trying to fast track to address not just this issue, but a number of other issues. But I hear you. I hear you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Madam Chairman.
Good evening, ma'am. Welcome.
Okay. Madam Chairman is the chairman of Barbados Water Authority, ma'am. Have respect. A couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, Mr. Abrams, you and the general manager of the Barbados Water Authority was talking on brass tacks that there's no shut-off in Bomiston in St. John. There's no shut-off, but here's it that in mid-morning, I can't even get to wash my clothes. I can't even get water for my son to feed his stocks, you know? And you're saying that the water do not shut off, but it runs off. Where does it run off and go? And you are leaving St. John residents in a quandary where we have to be searching for water. Yes, Barbados Water Authority put a tank down on Bath, not far from a standpipe. Why should I have to walk down a hill to go and get water, to bring back up a hill, to feed animals, to wash my clothes and whatever? It's not fair. It's not fair whatsoever. And the thing is, we are women. Majority of us are homeowners in St. John are women. We may have sons. You know, it's kind of embarrassing going into a bathroom every morning when you're seeing your monthly cycle, when you don't want your children to know that you're having a monthly cycle as a woman. It is not fair to us. It is not fair. We are talking, women are talking in Colleton, they don't have water for 5 months. Why do we have to pay a water bill? That is Why do we have to pay a water bill for 5 months and we're not getting any water? Why should I have to pay $100 and my water bill comes in to be paid at $194 and I have no water by 11:30 in the mornings? Why is it? Yes, we are speaking to the engineer, Mr. Engineer. Engineer, you are telling me that we're getting water from here, there. We have Pothole Spring. John said that the spring levels are low. You have to go to Groves to get water. There are other ways to get water into St. John. Your systems are very, very poor. I've been sitting down at Barstock, listening to Barstock every day. Deploy to St. John people. I call Charles each morning. Charles, this is not fair to we. We live in Courtshire, we live in Sherburne, we live in anywhere, and we can't get no water. Where is it? The next thing that we should do, we should sign a petition like the rest of the people in St. Joseph and march the water authority and tell them in this way, stuff it, and we ain't paying the water bill. The thing is, the thing is, we are hearing that you've got to pay the bills because water authority is in excess amount of debt and don't have any money. So if when they got the money, why should we take we money and get to winner where we ain't getting the service? That's the part I want.
Okay. 2 seconds. All right. Hold it down a minute. I like the passion. Hold it down a minute. Because we want to be able to hear her and get answers to the issues she's raising, all right? So give her a chance and give the gentleman here a chance to respond as well. All right?
So, Mr. Abrams, or Mr. Leslie, should we get a petition signed to send to Water Authority, or should we get a petition, ask the police for permission to go marching in front of your building in Wildy? It's not fair to St. John people. It's very humiliating. You know, it's every morning as a woman, I got a herniated disc in my back. You know, it's lifting up a bucket of water every day. It ain't fair. It ain't fair. I may be looking strong here, but it is not fair.
a herniated disc in there to play with and go lift up buckets of water. And then when the water truck attendants have a very poor attitude, Colleton and Coach Hill is Colleton Gardens. There is a nursing home in Colleton Tenantry. There is a children daycare service in Colleton's Gardens. You want to tell me that none of your workmen know where the difference between Colleton Day Nursery and Colleton Nursing Home is deplorable. I had to speak to one of my friends that work at Water Authority that is over some of these trucks here, and I had to beg him last week, please let the truck come to Colleton Garden, because if the only way it comes to Colleton Garden is when the Colleton Day Nursery is open. The nursery was closed for about 10 weeks. No water truck. When it comes out, it just zoom past. It don't indicate that it's there. It don't indicate that it's coming. Only one day I heard was Wednesday. I heard the your theme song on the set when they look outside the truck. Had not for Mr. whatever his name is, I would not disclose. Thanks to him for getting the water truck to come in through my area, and all of it ain't working. It ain't working. Y'all needs to get it done properly. It needs to be done properly, or we, even if I got a son, get a petition to sign to come and walk out in these districts of St. John to say, let me go down at Water Authority to march, we going. If all who want to be with me, could be with me. That's it. Thanks for having my ear.
Are you, ma'am? Thank you very much, Mr. Burke. Appreciate it. So, we raised a couple of issues to do with the daily supply of daily availability of water. And you raised a very point issues to do with the tanker truck system, and you also talked about the billing in these circumstances. You want to address those issues? Well,
okay. Thank you, ma'am, for your questions. We really empathize with you, with your situation. As it relates to the water going off, the Barbados Water Authority, every single day we start to pump from our Bowmanston well. But what happens is that because of the reduced rainfall, there's only so much water accumulated in that stream. I'm sure you would have seen in the papers, Dr. Monsa and the minister touring that stream. Normally, at this time of the year, you probably have 20, 30 feet of water flowing continuously. When these gentlemen were in that stream, the water was barely at their calves. So when it accumulates, we pump, but then the pumps, there's no more water in the stream for those pumps to operate with. So the pumps stop, and that's what happens daily. We wait until it accumulates again, and then the pumps start back again. But if we allowed and try to pump the pumps dry, what will happen is that they will just get damaged, and when the water does accumulate again, we wouldn't have those pumps we won't be able to use those pumps again. So that is the situation that has happened at Bowmanston. And you would recognize when we do get a period of rainfall, we're able to pump for longer periods of time. That's because more water is accumulating in the stream. But right now, because of the extended dry period, we have a limited amount of water in that stream that we're working with.
Okay, a question was asked about the water bills. The BWA came under FTC regulations in 2015, September 2015. Prior to that, the water rates were set by Cabinet and approved by Cabinet. Since we came under the FTC regulations, the Utility Regulation Act states that no utility can charge a different rate to the same category of worker. So, for example, if you're looking at domestic usage, all domestic users, as far as the utility regulations are concerned, are the same. The commercial users are the same, and they are all charged the rates that apply to them. For us to be able to make any changes to what we charge to any particular customer, we have to get approval from the FTC. Right now, one of the conditions that we have to meet in order to get to sit down with the FTC and discuss the matter with them is that we need to bring our financial statements up to date. We had a backlog of financial statements. We have cleared the 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018, and we are currently working on the 2019. When we do that, we will be in a position to meet with the FTC and discuss the matter of any adjustments that may be possible to the water rates. So we cannot do it arbitrarily without their approval.
One issue before you go on, I'm aware of the rest of the students are talking about. Is there a perception that they're not getting water, facilities that are getting water? And the men literally tax being collected on the water.
Okay, just by way of explaining the GSC, the garbage and sewage contribution, that people, it comes on the water bill. We're the collection service for the government. It is a revenue measure, so it is effectively a tax imposed by central government, the Ministry of Finance. It just happens that it comes on the water bill. Thank you, right. So we can't, the water authority cannot say to you, you don't have to pay that. That effectively, other than being a collection agent, any other responsibility for that is pretty much out of our hands. The one other question that people ask us is, why do we not use the GSC money to fix the water mains? We keep hearing that you're collecting money with the garbage and sewage contribution. Why do we not use it to fix the mains and replace the pipes and to do all the other work the Barbados Water Authority is supposed to do? Out of the entire pool of the GSC, I think the Water Authority gets less than 25%. How many?
25 cents out of the
150. Out of every $1.50, the Barbados Water Authority gets 25 cents. The rest of that goes to sanitation. Sanitation is not like Water Authority. We sell water, right? We get revenue coming in from our bills. The Sanitation Service Authority does not issue bills. Their only source of revenue now is the garbage and sewage levy, which is what has been used to purchase the trucks that they bought recently, is what's used to pay the staff and meet their operating expenses. So although it comes on the water bill, effectively less than 1/6 of that actually comes to the Water Authority. The rest of that goes entirely to fund the operations of the Sanitation Service Authority, which has no other source of income. The other thing, just to put this clear, how it was done, this is meant for us to address the issues concerning sewage and the wastewater section of the Barbados Water Authority. So we cannot use that money to lay mains. That can only be used under the law to deal with matters relating to sewage and wastewater. All right? With all due respect, ma'am, right? We will answer your question because I undertook to answer everybody's question. The lady, one of the persons who came before, asked that question. They asked how much money was being collected from the GSC. it was millions. Why can we not use that to lay the main? So I was actually addressing that question. I'll ask Dr. John now to address your question. We are here to answer all of the questions.
In any utility, there is infrastructure that is put in, and the loans for those infrastructures have to be paid for. So what you find in the tariff structure that is set up, there is always a minimum charge which applies to the loans that those utilities have to pay for. If you go to Light and Power, you are going to find a minimum charge that is included in the electricity bill. If you look at the telephone bill, you are going to find...
Hold on. We've been doing very well so far. So let's just make
If you go into the telephone company, you're going to find a similar minimum charge. We have properties of people who stay here for half the year, and half of that year, not a drop passes through their tap. They still pay a minimum charge. Now, somebody might say that doesn't make sense. Even though water is not coming through the tap, the BWA is still incurring expenses to bring that water by water tanker. It is actually more expensive. It's actually more expensive for the BWA to deliver water by water tanker than it is to bring water through your tap. So, like you,
so far with me, to the reputation that people of Barbados have, especially Barbados have. A chance to have a say, including each and every one of you that wants to have a say. And of course, it's important that you get the response to the answers. That's what we're here for today, right? Solutions, a conversation, a sharing. So just give everyone a chance, including especially the panel. Dr. Wanta.
Yeah, so as I indicated too, we still have to discuss with the FTC for any changes that we need or any discounts that we need to give to any customer. And that is a matter that is under consideration. And as soon as we could sit down with the FTC, we'll be able to come back to you and advise you on what the position is.
Saya, I live in Gold Hill, St. John. You would have sat here and heard others present, and some of them asked questions that I was planning to ask too. But what I keep hearing ringing out is how much of an inconvenience it is to be getting the water through the tank, through the truck, and the pipes being off. Now, the minister would have spoken and said that the BWA is in the business of supplying water. There is no water supply. Let's agree to that. Therefore, the BWA is not currently fulfilling its obligation to St. John. It is an insult. I don't care what you describe that bill as. It is an insult that after all of my inconvenience, you then send me a bill. And I am now obligated to pay it. From what you are explaining as well, you are not in a position to even help me because you don't have the power. You have to go to this body, you have to wait 6 months for this contract and all kind of things. So it seems to me, and I want the rest of you all here to hear it, because it seems to me as if the power is in the hands of you all. It is up to you to decide what you can do with that bill when it comes. Because had this been a different company failing to supply a service, it will only be reasonable that you fail to pay. And I don't want to encourage any insurgents or anything against the government or anything like that, but if this was any other company failing to supply the service, it will only be fair that you don't pay. And you are saying 6 months from now, 8 months from now, okay, fine. We will have this conversation again 6 months from now, 8 months from now, when you are supplying the service and when we begin paying again. Because then that would be fair. Now, at present, we contribute to the sewage tax, the sewage system tax, all that. And you know and we know we're not connected to it. But we don't mind because that's part of our social contribution, fine. But please, do not insult me to say that the bill is here, the bill is this, the bill is that. No, that is not fair. Not when people have to be going through hell and high water to live not even a normal life. It's not even a normal life in St. John. So for now you can find that houses in St. John don't build with inside bathrooms or inside kitchens or anything like that because they don't need it. The pipe doesn't run it. You have to go outside. And it's not fair. So since it's not in your power, I think it's time that people in St. John recognize that it's in their power and do what they fairly should do. Thank you.
Good evening, MP and Minister Charles Griffith. Good evening, Minister Abrams. Good evening, panelists. I have a few questions, but there are two in particular that I want to raise with the engineer and Dr. Wawanza. Dr. Wawanza, in his presentation in the beginning, he said that the parishes that lie inland are the ones that are more affected by the water crisis. St. George lies inland in Barbados. It's one of the most central parishes in Barbados. St. George, for one day, is not out of water unless there's a burst main. So there's something wrong there. Secondly, to Wawanza and the engineer as well, I've realized in traversing Golden Ridge, there's some construction work being done to the reservoir. To what extent is that repairs affecting us in St. John with water supply? And can you give us a date as to when that work would be completed? After that, no, there's another question I have for that.
The Golden Ridge has two reservoirs. Each has a capacity to hold 1.2 million gallons a day, or 1.2 million gallons. With the shortage in supply, Bomaston has reduced its pumping due to the drought from 3 million gallons a day to 1.5 million gallons a day. So what we have done is we have isolated one of the reservoirs, the one that is under repair, and all the water is going into the other reservoir. Even if we had both reservoirs in use, the supply problems would not be different because it's the volume that we have that counts. And that volume that we have at the moment, based on the production, can all hold within the one reservoir that is in use.
The completion date is September.
The completion date for the repairs to Bomaston, to Golden Ridge Reservoir is September this year. So it is essentially the roof that they are repairing. There are several other reservoirs around the island, 10 reservoirs that have to be repaired as well as part of our infrastructure upgrade. In addition to that, we have to replace some of the steel tanks because they are rusted and we are replacing them with material where you have a glass liner, which will protect the steel from rusting. If you drive on from the Warrens roundabout, Simpson roundabout, going towards the university, and you look to your right, you are going to see one of the blue new tanks that we just installed there. It is a similar tank to what we have at BZEX as well as Boscobel, and the new one at Fort George. So the work that we are doing on the reservoir has no impact on the water supply. You mentioned the fact that St. George is also inland. Yes, St. George is also inland. But the way the distribution network was set up was such that when you have a pipe transmitting water from the coast, in this particular case, we are transmitting water not even from the coast, we are transmitting water from the wells at Upper West to bring it to Gordon Ridge to mix with the water that is coming from Bomaston, so that some of that can be pumped to feed Castle Grant, and some of that can feed by gravity to feed right down to District C, Gull Hill, Coach Hill, Drax Hall. Those are all areas that are fed from the same system. Because there are pipes that join to the pipe that is coming up to the reservoir, and there are customers who are connected to those pipelines. Before the water can get to Gordon Ridge, some of those customers are withdrawing some of that water. That is why when we have problems with Gordon Ridge, what we sometimes do at night is shut down some of those branches into St. George. And so at night, there will be no supply to those people in St. George who are connected to that system, so that we could force that water into Gordon Ridge. So residents in St. George do suffer water problems at night when we have to do the shutoffs. And that is the time when we do shutoffs. The problem at Bomaston, we're not doing any shutoffs. In the normal sense of shutting off, when we shut down the pumps, it's because if we run them, the pumps will get damaged. That is the only time when we stop running the pumps.
My son lives in St. George. I have a friend who lived in St. George for over 50 years, and he said the only time he get hot water is when they go. I just want to talk about for the van drivers. There are some with some awful attitudes, and there are some who are wonderful. There are some who come through by me, and they're very helpful, so they are not all bad. So I just want to put a plug for them. Right? I'm not finished. No, this is the second session. This is the second question now. Right. And it speaks to the issue of paying for a service that I'm not receiving. It speaks to that issue. And that is my main issue and my main reason for being here. Now I had started a barbershop in 2020. In September 2012, it was damaged, maliciously damaged, and I discontinued operating the service in the barbershop. Now, in 2018, just before the election, during the road repairs, the pipe was damaged and never reconnected to the barbershop. Today, I'm faced with a bill of $930.31 that I'm supposed to pay for a barbershop that is not in operation. Why should I be paying that? Why should I be paying that? I have no problem paying the garbage collection fee. I have no problem with that. I can understand where it's going. And again, my garbage collectors, they're a very nice person, so I don't have no problem with that. But why should I be paying for a service that I'm not getting? And the workmen from Water Authority did not reconnect the pipe to the barbershop. So this is my issue. I have to pay for a service that I'm not getting.
That is a case where I can't give you an answer now, But we'll be glad to get the information and we'll investigate the case and get back to you. So before you leave, you could come forward here and leave your name and the address, and we'll contact you to get the details with regard to that account.
Actually, I drafted the letter that was going to take it to the Water Authority on Monday, but I didn't get there. And a copy of the bill, right, because I was going to make note of the person I gave the letter to, the time I gave it to them, and the name of the person who I handed it to. But I can hand that letter and that copy of the water bill to the chairperson of the Water Authority this evening if you need.
Now, I spoke earlier about some timelines. What's important is to write draft the issues and the feeling here that we gave you an opportunity to share and express your concerns and get answers. So don't be too concerned with the 10 minutes. So everyone will get a chance to ask your questions. Are you finished? Yes, sir. I think I recognize this lady first. So this lady, sorry, you right after this. I think I recognize you, and then this lady here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sorry. Please.
Let me say good evening to the panel, the ladies and gentlemen. I would like to express my feelings about the water system in St. John's. I live in St. John's and I could only speak for St. John. I came here in St. John from 1970 from St. Joseph. The roads are impassable, as everyone knows. The water, I went away for 20 years and leave this water system as it is. I came back and I hear the Prime Minister, the once Prime Minister, Mr. David Thompson, they asked for 60% increase in the water users to sustain all the problems that we are having now. How many years that was? Everybody is trying to pinpoint this government. It's not about government. It's about you all water authorities getting up and doing something for the residents of the parishes that suffering, St. Joseph, St. Andrews, St. Lucy, and especially St. John's and St. Joseph. Those are the two parishes that I came from St. Joseph and I'm living in St. John's and I'm suffering for water. I am how many years old? 3 scores. And let me tell you something. You see, I had an accident, came back here in this country, went to work and had an accident, a car accident. I cannot lift water. My fingers cannot bend. And it's disgusting. I'm sorry to speak like this, but the people, the men that's working on the water trucks, I'm telling you from my heart, they're disrespectable. They do not know how to speak to people. I can tell you, tell my minister whatever he had to say about me. He doesn't know anything about me. All I tell him, don't run over my step. I went on the air radio and I speak about it. One of the moderators asked me which I prefer, the step or the water. But let me tell you something. She is lucky that she was not in my face. Because if that's the way for she to speak to me, I am a woman this age old and she's a little girl. And that's the way she could speak to me. No, I don't accept it. But I am saying to you all, there are older people in this district like myself. I can't lift water. My little pension, I have to pay water to bring somebody every week to bring water to put in my bathroom. I can't lift the water to flush the toilet, but I only have one hand I could use. It's real disrespect and ridiculous to us all. I had enough of St. John. If I was renting, I would move out. But I have a home and live alone. My children are not here. All of them are overseas. And this, as the old people would say, I work my tail off and this is what I have to come to in this parish? No, it's not good. I had enough of it. St. John, St. Joseph. Listen, Christchurch is more populated. St. Michael, St. James, and St. Philip. More populated. Big, large, used houses, using more water than us. Hotels. Only we have a drought. Only these parishes have a drought. And then you all don't want people to speak up, think we are speaking ignorant. No, we are not speaking ignorant. We are speaking the truth. And it's enough. Enough is enough. My water bill came. I live alone, not getting water from my taps. And a bill came to me a couple days ago, $140. Who is going to pay that? Who is going to pay that? What are they doing inside there? And then I heard people on the air speaking about the problems in the water and said they could help. If they could help and they're retired, bring them back, let them help fix the problems. But nobody wants to listen to them. Who are we? We are all black. Let's get up, fight for one another, look out for each other. And we need love in this place. It's not about money. Money don't make us. Money breaks us.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, the panel. I'm from Sherborne, St. John. I want to know it is my one at my house, and I am not there when the water do come on once a month, because the water only comes on one day a month, and that is when we are going to get a reading. And if I am not there and I'm not using, we are not getting any water, I'm querying why I was paying X amount of money a couple months ago, and these 2 months the bill has gone up. For what? No water has come through the tap. I want to know why I have to pay more money these 2 months than the 2 months before. I can't understand that. I am a postwoman. I work in the town area, and I can carry one of your workmen. There's 3 areas where the pipe is burst, and every day that I look at the water, I say, look, we can't get water in St. John, and look, water here running. This is not fair. I told you I'm not getting the water, and I was not able to use my washing machine since November last year. And every week I have to pay $35 to the laundromat to get my clothes washed. Because when the water truck come out, and then the amount of people that has to go to that one tank, when I get there, I guess that, sorry to disclose how we's gonna get the water, you gotta bend down the thing so to get water, or if you keep it straight up, not a drop gonna come out to that tank. So we do not get any water, and this is disgusting to me. I'm tired of this here. Another question, the same tank. I sure that I have a little tank that I put water into. And if I don't clean that tank with chlorine, a little Clorox and thing, it's so slimy when you get down in there. And those tanks that are there, do y'all put any chlorine or anything into that water, into that tank? I think that right now, for the time that that tank was there, that tank wants cleaning. The water that coming out of it is slimy and brown. So I would like you all to come and clean that tank.
We'll let the water quality specialist speak to the quality of the water.
All right, let me go ahead first.
If you have an increase in bill, just give your information as well afterwards, and let's check that, because you may actually have a leak on your property.
All right, give me a minute now. Okay. All right. Let's give us a minute now. Okay, calm down. There were a couple of very important points. Calm down. Please. There are a couple of very important points. Sir. Please. Calm down. I want to get to the points. This lady raised a couple of very important points to do with the tanks and the sanitizing of the tanks. Let's give Mr. Alex Eiffel, the water quality specialist, a chance to respond to you, right? Please, all right? Let's give him a few seconds for everybody to calm down. Please, just calm down. Right. All right. Settle. Everybody calm now? Settle, yeah. All right. In all seriousness, though, she raised some very important points. We want to have a chance. It's not just about you raising points and ignoring them, but to have a chance to actually speak to those issues. Alex Eiffel, go ahead, please.
Right. I know you raised the point about the tanks. The tanks are disinfected once every 2 or so months, but however, the water we'll add to the tanks are usually higher chlorine. And if you look at the average across the tanks in St. Joseph, there are about 0.6 parts per million chlorine in those tanks. And in Sherburne, it is between 0.9 and 0.38. So definitely, because our tanks are constantly filled from a good source, and we do measure the chlorine in them and take water quality samples at least twice a month, right? Because twice a month, because there are over 100 tanks throughout Barbados, so we rotate.
Please. This is going to be very good so far, very important. Let's try to keep it that way, please. Because we made a commitment that despite what we're mentioned by the one accelerator, we want to ensure everybody's heard. So have no fear, communication, you know how to disclose all, right? So this gives everybody a chance to be heard, ask a question, and get a response.
Right? Yeah, so based on the tests we do, we know that the water in the tanks is safe. So, but if you, say for example, suppose you saw brown water in one of the tanks, because mistakes could happen. The tanks have a number, you can call us and tell us that you saw something, and we will respond to that, right? But definitely, on average, you look at about 0.5 parts per million chlorine to ensure that your water is disinfected. And as I tell you, the levels are not less than 0.2. The levels are up on average well over 0.5.
Alex, your resource on sharing any revise that schedule? Not even do some spot checks?
No, because there are over 100 tanks out there in the system. You got to rotate, and there's in one parish, they're spread across the island. So you rotate your system to match the capability lab. Generally in the distribution network, we try to have a chlorine residual level of 0.5 parts per million and not less than 0.2. 0.2 is enough to disinfect the water, and we make sure it don't go below that even at the end of the system. So the levels that you're getting in the tanks reflect the level in the distribution system.
Cliff. Now, fortunately, we do not have water issues at this time, but I have lived all my life, and most recently, a few years ago, we had, like everybody else in this other part of St. John, and the rest of St. John, months on end. Me and my mother was at a standpipe Christmas Day, and the beloved media wanted to take the good pleasure of taking our picture, but I prevented that, right? Yes, Christmas Day we had the standpipe catching water. You understand? Suffering. So because I don't have water issues, my heart goes out to all of my people in this parish because I understand. And I know the MP understands because if my pipe off, his has to be off. So I know he understands how it is to be without water, right? To be honest, it is hard to be in his position. What I am here to do is to offer some solutions. This problem will continue until the Water Authority, government, some rich person cares so that they can install the desal plants because we obviously have a shortage of the source of water. So until we address getting water, there will always be a water problem. So Minister, if you could please advance the plans because we understand that should anything happen in Barbados, regardless of which party is in power, so this is not political, St. John will be last. That is known. Right? That is why we pride ourselves as being the most resilient Barbadians. Because we will take the brunt and the grunt. But somebody has to meet us along the way. I would like us to have to get those, we want to get those desals so we can get the water. My brothers in St. Andrew, St. Thomas, this is where the poor people live, as I like to put it. Because in my opinion, the water is being distributed along social lines. Right? That's my opinion. That's how I feel about it. Right? We can install the glass lining tank that I see up at Lodge Hill. Now, they had a nice tank at Lodge Hill, you know, and they put down another one. I was wondering, could that not be somewhere up St. Joseph that will feed some of St. Thomas, some of St. John, and help some of the people in the area to get water? So if we can prioritize putting down these large reservoirs so that the rest of us can get some water, that will be nice also. In the meantime, I am well aware that all the pipes are somewhat connected. If we are suffering up here for water, can't we turn off the pipes going to the other places for a few days to allow the poor people up in St. John to get some water? I don't think nobody will be complaining as much if they were getting water 2-3 times a day because because they will know, well, you know the pipe will come on Monday and Tuesday, so we can catch up, we can wash, we can do what we have to do. Right? We would like to see a more equitable distribution of the water. Right? So that everybody will be able to get some. In addition to that, now if we are going to charge the folks the money for, if we are going to charge the folks, all right folks, if we are going to charge the folks the money for the bill, couldn't we find a creative way to convert that money into some form of tank program that each home can get a tank? So they're paying their water bill, and at the same time, because apparently everybody paying above the minimum rate. I pay too, but in another part of St. John, right? And we don't get a drop in that place. You understand? But that is our social duty. I can't complain, but I can't even mention the place, right? But it will be nice if some solution with the tanks. But the other problem that I understand the residents have, because I have an aunt that lives right up here in Gall Hill. Now there are 3 sets of, she has one home, but it's 3 sets of residences. And the Water Authority, people don't even want to fill up the little tank she got. You understand? So even when we get this tank system in place for each resident so they can have some supply, it would be still nice if we roll out the program you're speaking about so that we can get the tank flowing through. I have not seen the super tanker driving around. I don't know if it's still operating. let's see if we can get some more of that truck on the road. Even the sister was telling me here that the community tanks are empty. So there is an acute shortage of water in St. John in particular. I was amazed. We had a funeral at a place of worship. We went to clean the place of worship in line with the COVID-19 requirements.
Pause 2 seconds. Because, hold on, the gentleman here is making some excellent points, and I'm going to detail them or do the synopsis so we can get a response as soon as you're finished. You said the people in St. John are the most resilient. It's possibly true. In fact, sure it is. They have so far tonight also been some of the most polite people, given all the frustrations I'm hearing. Right? So I want to keep that going.
Yes.
Right? All right? I want to keep that going, so please, let's maintain that civility, that politeness, and that order. Thank you very much. Go ahead, sir.
At that place of worship where I worship, it was amazing that while we were cleaning the church, that the water went off. And when the residents of the area informed me that the water goes off like clockwork every 11 o'clock, when the days come, I could not believe it. So I can understand, although it might not be deliberately done, how people feel that some boy cutting off the water every day at the same time. And when I was outside, I heard other residents saying, but when 8 o'clock hour is gone. So we have to do some, I don't know what we're going to do in the short term, but certainly we have to start looking at some long term, because in the next 8 years, apparently we can repeat these same problems if we do nothing today. And I will hopefully still be alive. I may not be 100 a little bit, but please, if we can implement some of these solutions speedily, we will be able to get some alleviation of these matters.
I want to appeal to I want to thank you for those contributions. And I want to appeal to those on the outside, if you can hear me, just calm down a bit, so that we can get the benefit of the contributions inside. For instance, this gentleman spoke just now, Charles, Dr. John, Minister, spoke, and he really tried, and I like that, to bring constructive suggestions and solutions. Can we? All right, hold on. Let's see if we can get back to it. Let's get back order and see if we can just keep the discussion going in a polite manner. The gentleman spoke to issues of Sir, we just want to welcome you inside. The issue was there's a gentleman on the outside, and there might have been a perception that, oh, we're not welcome inside. That's far from the truth. The issue is everybody needs to be heard. All we were asking is that just give everyone a chance to speak. And there was the gentleman making his points. All we were trying to say is give him a chance to speak, then everyone will get theirs. There was never any intention that anyone should not be heard. And we want to hear you, sir. So please go ahead. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. Hold on. And everyone, please allow this gentleman. That's all I meant. Please allow this gentleman to be heard. All right? Okay? Please go ahead. Huh? Just come go ahead, sir. You go here.
Yes, the problem with Bournemouth and the reservoir and the pumping.
Right.
What happening? I thought Mr. Marshall right about with Everton. If he would change the pump at Everton to put the $500,000, but then $1 million in Everton, people in St. John will get water. Which I hear somebody come on the radio, I think it is Dr. John, and see water in the state 90 days before it got in the street. Not Bournemouth. If rainfall in St. John now for 10 minutes, in less than 5 minutes, Bournemouth stream to be full of water. Bournemouth stream to be full of water. You have to put $1 million in Everton. The ones who ever put $500,000 in Everton, in Mr. Marshall, the ones who ever put $500,000 in there, they got to put $1 million in there to send water straight to the reservoir so that the people will get water. And if you do that there, we will got the water problem. And that is something that was doing for years. All the rest of the engineers are working $1 million in there, not a half. As long as you put in that, we will get water. But I'm going to tell you too that it's going to be still the water problem. Well, are you looking for this? Are you looking to get water a couple of Saturdays ago when you had all the rain, all the cliffs, all the flood out, and not a drop? A drop in one country, my point says the 18th of March. Says the 18th of March. And they send me a bill every month. I didn't speak. Why keep me there? When that rain, the flood, Oak Cliff, you know what is happening to Bournemouth? Water to be muddy. And you ain't get that there? You ain't get that? You got to change that pump. Change the pump in Everton. And that's all you got to say for now. Change the pump. When you change the pump, we will get water. Change the pump in Everton. I told them, Mr. Leslie, already about it, and they tell you go up another $1 million. Change the pump.
No, hold on. I want to ensure this gentleman has his queries responded to. This is, huh? Yeah. Sir, can you please introduce yourself?
Good night, everyone. I'm Hector Marshall. I'm senior engineer in charge of operation maintenance located at Bournemouth. To give some clarity to the question, the comment that Mr. Bennett made, right now at Bournemouth, we are moving approximately 1.4 million gallons of water from Bournemouth alone. Everton's well that Mr. Bennett is speaking about is Everton well that Mr. Bennett is speaking about is just north of Bournemouth. When you put a pump in Everton well and move water from Everton well, you're going to deplete what's happening at Bournemouth. Remember that we're going through a drought, Mr. Bennett. There's no water in the stream like before. Yes, I may be the first engineer to have put $500,000 there to try to help our situation. If I put a $1 million pump in Everton, Mr. Bennett, I'll have zero at Bournemouth. So as opposed to having 1.4 million to move to the people, I will only have 1 million. What do you prefer, 1 million or 1.4?
Mr. Marshall?
Yes, please.
I've been working there for 44 years and 11 months, right? 44 years and 11 months, right? All we need to do is when Bournemouth running low, we rest Bournemouth Sunday for 2 weeks. Pump from Everton alone straight into the reservoir with $1 million. And you don't get that problem. Yes, you might hear somebody quote for the water low, but they're still getting water. You cannot put Everton and Bournemouth to pump together, because Bournemouth can't get water. So you have to use Everton alone. When Bournemouth start to catch back itself, where you might pump Everton, you might pump Bournemouth then for 2 or 3 hours. And as it get low, you stop it and put Everton to work again. But you can't work Bournemouth in the lower time. You just got to work Everton one. Why should we work Everton already for nearly 3 months? And keep water in the reservoir.
No, don't answer.
There's no work to do together.
Let's hear what is being said. Everton and Bournemouth pump water from one cave. And those were the 2 private wells that were utilized from the 1800s by 2 private companies. One of the reasons why government took over the operations of those companies was that when the upstream well was working, it impacted the downstream well. And as explained by Mr. Bennett, you cannot run the 2 together. Because if you take the water off upstream, it will not be available to be pumped downstream. So if we're pumping 1.4 million gallons from Bournemouth and we pump from Everton, then it means we have to shut down Bournemouth to be able to get that 1 million out of Everton. Yes.
We had a water problem for a while before now, right? The water problem. And it wasn't this bad. I leave Water Authority the 4th of March last year. And not a drop water because my pipe from the 5th. What is the problem?
The problem is that when was the last time we had 5 consecutive years of drought? Remember the...
Excuse. This thing now going on. This job was on for a while. All when it was working, this job was on. And, no, gentlemen, and I work there, and I work to make sure people get water. But they got people that telling you we don't touch this and don't touch that, so people can't get the water. Get up and smell the coffee.
There was a gentleman before that in the yellow shirt.
What was the gentleman's name again? What was the gentleman just now? Mr. Bennett, hold on. Huh? Hold on, calm down. By the way, I just want to thank Mr. Bennett, who was for coming in and making your contribution. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. All right. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Good night, everyone. I am Donicia Maris from Cleveland, St. John, and it has been 5 months straight that we have not received running water, not a drop from our taps. Is it possible that at least some amount of times of the week that we can get running water? School is about to start back. Exams about to start. Please. Another question is if we can have a tank, a community tank in our neighborhood. And those are the questions I have. Well.
All right, good evening, everyone, to the panel, to my other neighbors. My name is, yeah. Hello? Wait. Wait, yeah, there you go. All right, my name is Tahira Hurdle. I live in Gaw Hill, number 2, St. John. Tahira Hurdle. I live in Gaw Hill, number 2, St. John. Now, my big issue here, and I walk with the bill. My bill came in for $4,134.15. Now, me and my mother, it's just me, my mother, and my daughter, small child, in a house together. If it is, when I called the water authority, I was advised, oh, it may be a mistake in the system. This bill came in like this. I think this is the 3rd month straight that it came in like this. We went to pay the usual amount that we know we have to pay. We were advised by ShorePay, oh, we cannot take a payment because it's saying it's due for disconnection. We want to disconnect it. Why? If it is a mistake, you cannot expect to make these sort of mistakes in St. John. You cannot make a mistake like this in St. John. And if it is, earlier we were asking why it is we have to pay for a service that we are not receiving. To my knowledge, Barbados Water Authority is providing a service. The service of providing water to the island. If it is that you go in any other place and they say, okay, you have to pay. Let me use the example for myself. I am a cosmetologist. If it is, I am advertising that I am providing a service. I am providing hair, nails, and whatever, and I am taking money from clients and I fail to provide that service, it would be a problem. You have to think of it as the same way, whether it is a private entity or a government entity. And it is very frustrating that you are constantly paying for water. Now, if it is that you have to pay a minimum fee or whatever. I know everybody is talking about the tanks. They are expensive. Some regular households cannot afford a tank or a pump. And if it is that you have to pay a minimum amount, whether it be whatever, can you all work out something with us so that houses can have pumps, have the tanks and the pumps? It may say, you know, I understand it's a drought, everybody may be upset because they can't get water, Like that, everything is connected. If you turn off a little bit somewhere so we could get a little bit during the day, people leave home early on the morning. I myself have to be out the house by 7 o'clock to get to the salon in time for my first appointment. But then there's no water. I have to try to scrubbish to get a little water. As soon as I had to push back my appointment times to accommodate me trying to help my mother catch water. She's older. And then high blood pressure and hypertension is not good for her mentally. She's stressed and frustrated. I myself am stressed and frustrated. As a female, during that time of the month, you don't want to be bathing in a bucket. You don't feel clean. You don't want to be bathing in a bucket. You don't want to be spending time outside and doing groundwork or anything for males that have to come home. Then, whatever I'm doing during the day, to come home to bed in a bucket of water, though. How that does feel? It doesn't feel good. If it is for a short period, okay, you will say, all right, a hurricane, the water gone off a little bit, but the water come in. My bathroom ain't had, because there's an upstairs, downstairs ain't had bathroom, ain't had water in the bathroom since before COVID. And then in this COVID time, we advise when we come in to go straight in the shower, wash your hands, clean your hands and stuff. Hand sanitizer ain't saying nothing much against this COVID thing though. You have to use soap and water because I can't bathe in hand sanitizer. And then, like I said to my mother, I said, Mommy, but this, and then this COVID thing come down and you can't get no running water. And every minute, wash your hand, baby, when you come in. So I leave home there every day. I got your own child. As I come in, she's want to run up on me. I can't go in. So I don't got to turn around, go on, catch water, hot water, all of that. No, these is not the times to be having water shortages. It's not the time to be having water shortages. And then I also want to address the trucks. The trucks, it is, and I know Somebody asked earlier about working on a system where the drivers are relieved of their duties in between. Come on, it is not that difficult to sort out a schedule. It is not that difficult to sort out a schedule. It is not that difficult to rotate a situation. It is not. And also providing training for your service providers. They need training. There was a video that was posted on Facebook, I'm not sure how long ago. A neighbor of mine in Garden number 3 went to collect water. She had a young child in the house. She had no one there. Her older son was not there to assist her in collecting the water. She asked the driver, can you just come forward a little bit? I know how it is about young children. My daughter is 2 and she's a handful. You want to keep your eye on them? Yes. You still want to catch a little water when the truck come? And the driver drove off far up door. That was stinking and disgusting what he did. And it turned my stomach when he did that. To see a female bare buckets in the driveway. So she just wanted to catch the water, put back to the driveway, catch the water, put back to the driveway, so then she could carry them in to get back to her son. Oh my goodness gracious, it's not that difficult to extend some common courtesy. We understand it's a difficult situation. As you said, God help people in St. John have been polite about the situation, and we are trying our best to be in this difficult time. But come on, extend an olive branch, be a little nicer, be a little more considerate to persons who are dealing with this. As for this bill, I don't know who I can leave it with here. I stand out here all this long time coming forward, went inside, straight here to get this dealt with, because this is an issue. There's no way nobody in Garden number 2, furthermore St. John, should be seeing a water bill that got $4,000+ on it for water. That's high class, worthless indifferentness. And it is very frustrating. It's very frustrating. This thing is not only frustrating in terms of not having water, it's mess up people mentally. To the point I went to a friend house the other day. She got running water, and you know what I do? I turn around, where the bucket is for me to wash my hand. Like it's like no, we just get re-socialized into not having water. Ain't easy. It's not easy. And instead of just everybody just say, oh, but we're going to try this and we're going to try that. No, we want to see some action. First things first, we understand the shortage. You have to send out the trucks. Send them out. Work out a schedule the same way that is coming through over the radio, that this happening and thing happening, ads and whatever. Put out that, okay, Garden number 2, we have 3 sections for y'all to get water early morning, in the afternoon, and then in the evening or the night time. Because the average person goes to work. The average person goes to work and they leave home early, and sometimes they get home late. And by then the water truck pass during the daytime. They may catch water before and the left one, they may catch after. Is no water for them to use. Try to work with. So I think the first thing that needs to be dealt with is a correct system. If you need help, I am willing to sit down with you and help you come up with a system that water can come to us 3 times a day in the water tanks, and have the truckmen trained to be courteous. Sometimes a soft answer turneth away wrath, and grievous words stir up anger. It is in the Bible. It's not what you say, it is how you say it. So that is the first thing. I am going to leave this bill with somebody here. I'm going to leave my name. I am going to leave my number. You can contact me and I will help you all come up with a system for the water trucks, because the people need water. And that's the first thing we need to talk about before we deal with any tanks and pumping station and all of that, so that people can get water as in like yesterday. Thank you.
Hold on. RKGM, can you, yeah, please. Please. Yeah, Matrix. All right. Somebody will take your name and deal with that issue, I'm sure. Sir? By the way, Tahira? Thank you for your contribution. Very good.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Everybody. Mr. Minister, Mr. Griffith, Stepson, good night. My name is Arthur Williams. I'm living in Park House. I'm a civil servant for more 48 years, and I live in Park House. I had to bathe in a bucket of water for 5 months. Bathe in a bucket of water for 5 months. Now I have a bill here come to me just a couple of days ago for $300. Now, let me tell you something here. I calculate 80 by 5. I get 400. I am subtracting 330 from that 400, and our water authority is only $70. And that's what I'm going to pay them. 5 months. Thank God I have a car. I have a government car loan from a government car. I have a car. I will reverse my car to the tank. That's a water tank in Park House. I have 10 buckets, 50 water bottles. I just come to the tank, or when I get home, put it in the no, I gotta go work tomorrow. I on holiday now. I get work from Monday tomorrow. When I get home, sometimes the truck gone. Sometimes before I get home, I don't see the truck. Tank empty. Sometimes the tank empty, sometimes the trucks ain't coming, sometimes the truck come late, sometimes the truck come late, but outside get dark, man, shh. They ain't blowing nothing. You're passing and just go on up the hill. I live on a slope, I live on top of the hill. So if I have to get 2 buckets in my hand and walk up that hill every day. I'm not all that young no more. I am in my 60s, please. And to carry water up and down a hill from a tank is stressful. My neighbor here talk, Miss Annie Downs, she lives on the hill. She have challenges. I am more physical now, but as I get older, I'm gonna get to carry that water. Water and control a tank, my water and control my water in my house for 5 months. I owe water authority $70, and I hope when I go there, because I went there many times, they tell me it's an estimated bill. How can you estimate a bill for water that don't control a tank, control a system? Man, I have some bills here. On this bill I see here, usage not. So if usage not in this section, how comes my estimated bill is $35, $34, $38? I'm paying a storage tank. Someone said, I'm not connected to our storage tank, storage system, so how we should be paying garbage? I'm not saying I try to help the government to get money, but at the same time, I don't want you to charge me for water that I'm not getting. That's the serious point. I don't want to pay for water that I'm not getting. Minister, I hear you sometime on the air calling program, because let's go work, and hear the radio sometimes you're saying that people misusing the water and people not paying their water bills. No, Mr. Minister, because some people in this country, I understand, big conglomerates, and pay water for months and years. And the old water authority millions of dollars. Door tap don't get cut off. But I owe $100 in arrears and see my water bill. Due for disconnection. That is not fair. So you would tell me for $100 in arrears, you put on my bill due for the election, and I ain't getting water for 5 months. My bill says due for the election, but I ain't paying water authority no $330. I want the people in St. John don't pay their bills. We want to stop paying these bills. I get the message to water authority that we need a solution. I hear now down Pot House. Let me give you Pot House again. They put in new mains, right, alongside my house. The old mains used to feed me water whether it is drought or not drought. But the new mains ain't no. I can't even give a sprinkle of water coming through me. What's wrong there, sir? Huh? I understand that the old system was failing. I agree that the pipe's old. But if the pipe's old, yeah, I agree you're upgrading. I have no problem with that. But tell me, with a new upgrade and new pipes and blue pretty pipes, and the old system used to give a little water with the old dirty pipes, and the new brown blue pipes can't give me a little water even one day. But when you turn over, tell me there's something wrong down in Bomiston. And a friend of mine that lives in St. George tell me, water don't go off, and then we're going to water my Bomiston. Dear water do not go off, and dear get water from Bowman's tank. What happened to the stream? It's bad management. It is poor management. It is wrong connections. It's wrong distribution. I throw a bucket of water. I throw a bucket of water every morning. I work for the post office. I'm a senior supervisor at Huatong Post Office. I have to go, and I have to go work every day, and I have to get up work early in the morning. I have to get up early. Time I get home, no tank, no water. Sometimes 3 days in Port House, that tank don't bring me down no water. 3 days, it's running straight. 3 days. I said, I can't go to the water pipe. I had to drive my car out Guinea, I stand pipe, and collect some water. People is coming all about at that tank in Port House too. I can't stop them from coming because if you ain't got the water, you want water, you can come anywhere with a car and collect your water. But it's disheartening, it's unfortunate, it is disgusting that people in St. John is being treated this way. Everything in St. John going wrong for people, everything like going wrong for people in St. John. We ain't got no luck. Huh? We ain't got no luck. Lord have his mercy, man. Good God, we need some help, man. Help the Port House people. Help the St. John people. And St. Gall Hill, sometimes man say me, oh, but you're laughing, no, we getting some, you ain't getting no boat. So people even saying that when they had the old pipe, it's getting. And now we got the old pipe and getting, but them getting now. And they got new pipes too, and we got new pipes. So them getting from the new pipe, the old pipe is get from, and getting from a new pipe, but they getting from the new pipe. Something wrong. I rest my case.
All right, good evening to Minister Abrams, Griffith, and to the members of the panel. My name is Andre Worrell, and I'm a resident of Sherborne in St. John. And since, well, this is over a year now that we have been going through this problem with no water. Before, we used to get water at least for 2 hours a day, and we could have lived with that. We didn't used to complain with it, but from December, we realized that the water, the pipes were off for weeks, and now, since March, we have not had a single drop of water running through our pipes. Now, I'm glad that the BWA finally decided to have a meeting with us so that you can hear what we are going through, the agony that we are going through. People mentioned it already in terms of elderly persons having to lift buckets and take bucket baths. We are sick and tired of it. And for somebody to for the Prime Minister to tell us to have a little bit of patience, we have been going through this long enough. Our patience has worn out. And it seemed as though all the time that we were talking and complaining, no one was hearing and paying attention, because you know what? The rest of Barbados had water. And they could not understand that we were not getting any. And I find it very difficult, and everybody in here will find it difficult, to understand why is it Barbados has a drought, but only one parish is suffering. Why is it that Barbados has a drought? We in St. John, we are accustomed that, especially during this dry period, the water would go off at night and come back on in the morning. And it will happen in a number of different areas, because you know what they will tell you? They're giving the reservoir time to replenish so that you can get water. So why is that not happening now? Why is it that St. John people have to bear the brunt for Barbados so that people in Sandy Lane and all other parts of Barbados can get water, but we have been suffering in silence for over a year, and then y'all gonna come and tell us to have patience? We don't have any. And furthermore, the solutions. Now, you could have come with the solutions in terms of, as persons mentioned, the personal tanks, so that at least everybody would have a tank, because it was done before. In 2017, when St. Joseph was having their issues with water, the Water Authority and the Rapid Response Unit offered personal tanks to those persons in St. Joseph so that they would be able to have water in situations like this for a drought. Why can't it be done for the people of St. John? We deserve that. We have elderly people that cannot. it is ridiculous that people are moving from bucket bath and now using cloths and stuff like that to take a sponge bath because you can't afford to be lifting a bucket. It is ridiculous, and it's also affecting the farmers as well and other persons in the business community because you don't have water for your livestock, you don't have water for your crops. And when will the BWA stop telling you about the egregious contracts for the desalination plant and bring some facts? You can't cause the rain to fall. So even when you bring your pipes from the vineyard, you got water to put through it. The only way that you will have water to put through that is a desalination plant. And that is the only way that you could guarantee people in St. John and the rest of Barbados that they would have an adequate supply of water. This is 2020. We can't be dealing with the 1970 and 1980 problems just because it was happening then. Don't tell us now that we got to endure it. There's technology out there. There's technology out there that you could put in place. There are the packaged desalination plants that I believe, and I would like to ask, are they sitting down in a factory yard not being utilized? Do you have any packaged desalination plants which can be utilized? That's my first question. My second question to you, what areas outside of St. John are being supplied with water from Bomiston? That's the second question to you. What areas outside of St. John? And the third area, now the Barbados Water Authority comes under the Fair Trading Commission, and you have a standards of service protocol with the Fair Trading Commission. The question was asked here several times tonight, but it was skirted around. It was never answered. In terms about compensation for water bills. In that service of contract, I think it is GWS 9, where it says that the Barbados Water Authority is required to provide a minimum of 8 cubic meters of water on a monthly basis. And the compensation for residential customers, if that is not done, is to be reimbursed 1 month's water supply. For commercial customers, it is double that. Now, every single person in here probably received a water bill for May, which showed 62 days, 0 usage, and it was a red water bill. The meters were red, and we were charged, some of us were charged $61 or more. And that $61 have nothing to do with the sewage. It has nothing to do with the garbage. It is the charge for water. So I want to ask a question tonight. Can we expect to be compensated for the water bills that we have been paying for more than 5 months without water? Can we expect that? And I don't see it being a problem because I remember that persons whose water was disconnected, a mandate was given by the Prime Minister for their water to be turned back on. So it cannot be a problem right now. And I doubt that persons whose water was disconnected for non-payment of bills made any attempt to pay their water bills. But we all in here pay our water bills. Pay our water bills even though we're not getting a drop of water. You could at least compensate us for it because we have to buy bottled water because we can't drink the water from the tanks. Going back to the water from the tanks and the community tankers. Now, the gentleman mentioned that the tanks are supposed to be cleaned every 2 months. The tanks in Sherburn were there for 6 months, and I have not seen anybody come up there to clean and sterilize those tanks because you cannot clean and sterilize those tanks with them in place. And that tank was never missing, and I never saw a truck bring back one to replace it. So how is that 2-month program working? You are expecting people to depend on water from a tanker and a community tank to drink, to cook with, to bathe, and you cannot guarantee for us that that water is clean because the tanks are not being cleaned every 2 months as the schedule dictates. Because for 6 months, ours was not clean, and I'm certain in other areas it is the same thing. So how can you guarantee for us the quality of the water in those tanks? And a lot of persons have taken the decision not to drink that water. You have to drive other places and get water for drinking, that is at a cost. That is at a burden. The person spoke about laundry. Oh, goodness gracious me, it takes me 8 buckets of water for a load. And then 8 buckets of water to rinse that load. And then every day that you want to, and when I wash it, I normally try to wash the whites, I wash the towels, I wash the sheets, and then I wash the collars. So that's 4 sets of washes that I have to do. 4 by 16 buckets of water that I would have to be trekking from a community tank. Y'all really think that we got patience to wait and to continue to do things like that? We need water now. Water is a human right, and y'all should not be playing around with this. So I would like the questions answered, and I would like to hear how soon will we get water running through our tanks, even if it's just 2 hours a day, because it can't just be St. John and the rest of Barbados not feeling it.
And by the way, to expedite matters, I'm taking notes of all the key points people are making. I'll let people make their points, and I'll run through the questions afterwards so we can get a response, all right? So go ahead.
Hi, good night. My name is Junior Mears. I live in College Land, St. John. My question is being posed to the acting general manager. Yes, please. You said that there were 23 wells in Barbados and 5 is within the central part of the island. So what you said?
23 wells that are used for public supply. The majority of those are taking water from, 18 of those are taking water from where you pump off of a freshwater lens that flows on seawater. The other 5 are inland.
So that you talk about the topography of the island and that you get the most rainfall in the center of the island. So hence I take it that if we're dealing with gradient in geography, that the water is running down. So are those wells on the northeastern side of the island? Because obviously the west and the south are pretty flat, so you wouldn't get much gradient.
The water, the 5 that are inland are Palmerston, there are 2 at Sweetville, then we have 1 at Upper West, and we have a well field at Upper West where we use 3 of those boreholes at a time. So that is, if you see where the location is, this is on the 3rd terrace and the 2nd terrace. The rest of the wells are located in St. George Valley, which is Newmarket, Constant, Hampton, and those, remember, the St. George Valley has seawater underneath it, which floats on top of seawater, or which has seawater below the fresh water. So the ones in St. George Valley, as well as the one along the west coast, those are all tapping from the freshwater lanes.
Those in St. George does not speak to the central part of the island?
Valley, remember, the way the water flows in the ground is that when you come inland, you could drill a well here and find water, and drill a well 2 feet away and find a dry spot.
Let me summarize the question then. Are there wells on the northeastern side of the island?
Yes.
That was so hard to answer.
Northwestern, you're talking about the Scotland district?
Northeast, the northeastern side of the island. Are there wells on the northeastern side of the island?
No.
That's what I'm trying to understand. Or if you said that water is running into the valley, obviously a valley speaks to gradient because it's lower. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Good. We are getting a lot of water on the south and the west coast. However, my concern was that St. Thomas, St. Joseph, St. Andrew, St. John are the most gradient parts of the island in terms of parish. Agree?
In terms of rain?
Well, in terms
Yes.
of gradient, in terms of rain, in terms of
Yes.
slope, in terms of whatever term you
Yes.
want to use. Yes. Hence, most of the water, as you said, is running off. So you need gradient for water to run off. Clearly, there's no catchment for the water. Hence, it runs in to the sea, or the springs carry it to the sea, any which way.
It is draining into the ground and
Into the
flowing to the
aquifer?
sea.
Well,
Once it gets into the ground, there is nothing to stop it from flowing downhill towards the coast.
Are we doing anything to catch this water? Can this water be catched in any sense?
That is
based on the gradient.
That is the one that ponds underground and floats on top. Okay, what happens is that this is inland here. The land is like that. The water filters through, hits the bottom, and flows downhill. When it reaches the sea water is heavier than fresh water. So the fresh water backs up into the inland. And that is how it ends up floating on top of salt water. And that is what the majority of what we are pumping to drink.
Okay. I'm not going to prolong this. However,
to stop it from draining to the coastline,
all right, let me speak and then you can deal with her, yeah? Clearly, there's some fundamental problems going on with the management system of the Barbados Water Authority. Being a statutory corporation, it is interesting that we have the minister and the chairman, the chair lady, sorry, who is here. I am really hoping, you said you have been at the authority for approximately 30 years?
Yeah.
Are you the most senior administrator?
No.
You aren't. Well, clearly, I hope after this meeting, because I'm not even going to pose the question to the minister, because Water Authority really needs a shaking up. There is so much inefficiency coming out of this meeting within the management of Water Authority. It's appalling. Honestly, it is appalling. Mr. Minister, you really need to do something, honestly. Heads should be rolling at the ministry, within that ministry, by now and 7 o'clock in the morning, honestly. For what I'm hearing, heads should be rolling, honestly, should be rolling. The problem that I'm really hearing here, right, is that we are trying to intellectualize the distribution of water, which is a practical exercise. You can't talk it, you have to do it. We are trying too much to intellectualize water distribution, and it's not working. Many times I hear the panel biting their tongue to answer questions. We should be straightforward. It is very unfortunate. All you are hearing is about money, 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 money. Yes, money is required, but it takes more than money for what I'm hearing here. And if we are going to get water in the next 6 months, as you have said, are we to pay water bills for the next 6 months? Without any kind of water, and you're talking about your audit is behind for 5 years, and therefore you can't go to the Fair Trading Commission because of bad auditing? Are you all serious? What is your accountant department, your finance or accountant department doing? What is going on there? Honestly. What is going on at the Barbados Water Authority that the auditing is so far back behind? Are these people being paid? We obviously have to pay you all.
All right. I was going to wait until everyone had asked a question to then do a synopsis and let the response come. But your points have been very pointed. So I think the minister needs to respond. All right.
I'm going to get to the minister directly, because I really want to know what he thinks about the ministry that he is running at this point. And if he does not think that a shake-up is really needed, I really feel for the MP, honestly. I really feel for you, Charles. I feel for you, honestly. I feel for you. I really feel for you, Charles. I live in College. We do not have a tank well, one is in Welch, but on Bathland, in Sargent Street, in College, in Sealy Hall, in Society. Not one tank. I have a 98-year-old lady living in Sergeant Street, and no male is in the house. And she lived up in Sergeant Street. Up in 98. No male is in the household. Not one. Are you feeling what we are feeling? Mr. Minister, speak to me, please. Are you feeling what we're feeling? Tell me what you're feeling, honestly.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
We're feeling you, right? We're feeling you. Now, you have frustrations that are real. We cannot ignore them. These frustrations and trying to find the solutions to the issues you are going through and that Barbados is going through is affecting all of us. This is what we come to work every single day to do. Now, your problems are more acute because they are perhaps the most severe or among the most severe in Barbados. Having said that, the Water Authority brought themselves here. We knew what we were coming to. No, hold.
Please, just a minute, please.
I have not attempted to cut off a person. The moderator has not attempted to cut off a person, not one person. We let everybody have their full say. We are recording this because the intention after this is to go through every single issue raised, every one, and try to respond to each one. We're going to look at the suggestions and see what, if we can use them, what help they can offer. But every single point being raised here in this meeting is being noted. Every single point, concern, consideration is going to be assessed, dealt with. Where we can implement things to alleviate the issues raised, we are going to do that. You can rest assured on that. Now, having said that, I think it is unfair for you to call here now for heads to roll. No? Okay. Actually, reality, the floor is open to you and anybody else. You can say exactly what you want without censorship from me. I'm not attempting to control what it is you say. We're going to go back and look at this, and we're going to make the decisions that are in the best interest of the country and to address the issues affecting the people in St. John.
Mr. Bob.
Yes, sir.
To you.
Yes, sir.
How long can the people go?
Longer than for water.
Pardon?
Longer than they carry for water.
So can you not understand the sensitivity and the disorder, sporadic, however sporadic it may be, of these folks in the back expressing themselves and their frustration sometimes?
Absolutely.
You can?
Of course.
Well, thank you. I'm hoping, though, Mr. Minister, that you will take a look at what Mr. Bennett and those other guys had to offer. Because obviously, your management system, to my mind, is clearly out of sync when it comes up to debating these guys who have been in the system for so long. I don't know if you get the same feeling, but I think the whole audience here is of that opinion. It's totally out of sync. Mr. MP, can you help me to understand if and when we can get some tanks between College, Sergeant Street, Society? I'm going to get to that. Sealy Hall. These are the people that have asked me to voice their concerns. Hence, I'm doing that. Is it possible or is it not possible? That's true too, but yeah.
All right, thank you for the question. The reality of the situation is that oftentimes when community tanks are placed, there's a need to have buy-in from the landowners. Now, I would have gone to Sherburne, and the minister would have consented to place 2 additional tanks in Sherburne. The truth is that the second one, I got cussed because one of the guys in Sherburne, number 3, felt that the tank should be placed in the middle of Sherburne number 3. The reality is there was no landowner that was saying yes to place that tank at the location. We have had some serious problems in terms of putting tanks on people's property without their permission. There's a contract. The tank that was placed in Sherburne number 3, the gentleman is living in Christchurch. Contact was made. He gave permission. There's a contract that must be signed by the landowners permitting the BWA to put the tanks on these locations. I am sure that if you speak to those persons within the areas that you would have identified just now, and we can have permission, then it is possible to have those tanks. In recent times, now I am minister in the Ministry of Housing. In recent times, there is provisions for rural development to assist with placing tanks at locations. Now, bear in mind, I must work in sync with the BWA in order to have those tanks filled. If I can get permission from the landowners, I can initiate the project through RDC to have some of the community tanks placed in the locations. So we can speak after the meeting. You can contact me. You have my digits in terms of getting permission from those landowners, and we will do what we have to do.
In writing, or can it be verbal? How do you want it? I can assure you that I can get permission for you. I can assure you that.
Yes, like I said,
I'll work with you. I'll help you to help my people.
In order to protect BWA, there is a contract that must be entered into where the landowner must sign off on it.
I'll take the initiative to do that for you within the week.
We can work together, brother.
I promise you that. I'll take the initiative to do that. Acting General Manager again. You made a reference about wells being cleaned on people's property, and you have to hope that they can assist you all with cleaning these wells. Is Water Authority serious about that? The Ministry of Housing and Lands has requisition that they can go and take up property if they see the necessity of that property for the benefit of government as a whole. Am I wrong, Charles? I worked within that government for years. Am I wrong, Charles?
We can do acquisitions if necessary. We can do that. What kind of acquisitions you're talking about again? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Some wells that needs cleaning, which is causing some hindrance to the catchment of water. If I'm quoting him wrong, if I've quoted you wrong, please correct me. And he said that he is hoping that the landowners would facilitate the cleaning of such wells to enable the Water Authority access to water. That's what I gather.
All right, let me try to deal with that one directly. I can tell you as a fact that we are about to get very, very, I don't want to say militant. No, hold on. A lot of the wells are on plantations, and they're private wells. There's provision, people are supposed to maintain their wells. It became a lot more difficult to maintain wells than just to fill them up, dump garbage in them, things going out of them, right? But the government is about to enforce the cleaning of wells on private properties. We are trying to sort out the wells that the government itself has access to. As I said, probably maybe before you got here, if you actually drive around Barbados, you'll see a lot of the wells that had things growing out of them have been cleaned. A number of the plantations have gotten on board and designing drainage systems to shepherd the water into the wells. So your concern is one that that's one of the lower hanging fruit, because it is obvious this well system operated for many, many years and served Barbados well. We cannot take the slackness where people do not take responsibility for what they have to do to get the water into the aquifer. So government, this is not a matter of us begging people to assist now. This is government is going to enforce the cleaning of the wells. I asked a young lady previously, for all who are here or who can hear me, if you know of wells that are blocked, please let us know, and we will arrange to get those clean or enforce against those. But the reality is, how many wells are there, Dr. John?
There are more than 10,000 drainage wells on plantations.
There are more than 10,000 drainage wells on plantations. So, We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. What we're trying to do is get all of them dealt with. But this is where information from the public helps us. The reality is we don't necessarily know they're not our wells, but they're wells that supply water to the aquifer. So this is where information from you who are traveling about and who see a well that is blocked or who see a well that is in disrepair, send a note into us, and that helps us significantly to advance the cause. So this is not us begging anybody for blame, right? The government is taking the responsibility to have this matter dealt with.
You said that there are some private and there are some government-owned wells. Since you were unable to tell me how much are functional, can you tell me how many government wells are functional, or have government been as lackadaisical
Tell you what I'll
the
do.
sector as
We
well?
registered your thing. We will try to verify that and put that information out for you. But that's honestly, that's not something we have on the top of our head. But your question is registered, and we will have that dealt with. Provide your answer.
Another member of the constituency want to know, in the case of a fire, what are we supposed to do, a house fire? These are questions that have been put to me to put to you, so I'm just putting it to you. I'll leave now, though, and let you answer for them.
And by the way, we are probably not probably, I know we are well past an hour beyond the timeline I originally envisaged for this meeting, but we thought, given the passions and the critical nature of the issues being discussed, that we need to give you time to make your points and be heard. But I think the hosts, we've agreed that we've got at least another half an hour or so. Is that fine? Is that fine? Because I know people have to go to work as well. So if we can give another, maybe 15 minutes for questions and then 15 minutes for the wrap up. And I've noted all the points as well, so I'll run through them quickly, right? So go ahead, ma'am, sorry, go ahead. So maybe take one and maybe two more after you. Is that fine with everybody? That's fine? Okay, cool. Thank you very much for your patience.
Good evening. My
Good evening,
name
ma'am.
is Tadia Toppin from Poland, number 2, St. John. I'm just trying to make some points. I remember y'all saying earlier in the year, this was before COVID, that someone with a PA system came around and said we were going to be out of water Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, I am not so sure if there was a glitch in the PA system where we missed the part where it was supposed to be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because the water goes off every day. It was supposed to be 9 till 4 in the day, and then at 9 at night till 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, I live in a household, I live with my family. We have 3 houses. 90% of the members in my family are female, very young females. I have a 14-year-old daughter, who goes through menstrual cycles. I have nieces, all teenagers that are going through the same problem. Now when the water goes off at 10:30, because usually it used to go off after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which is fine. Well, not really fine, but I'm just saying we would work with it. Now when you're taking away the water a little earlier and still bringing it on at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock on the mornings, the people that have to get in 5 o'clock bus is a problem. Because if you're bringing on the water at 5 o'clock, I can't bear that 5 and get out the front row to get in the bus. You understand? Now, let me just draw my points, which really have me really aggravated. Twice, and I have in my phone 2 videos of water trucks coming through my gap to fill up someone who's doing work, to fill up her tank for her to do work, and not looking at any of the other houses. I have it recorded. I have not put it on TBC because I don't really care about that sort of, if you understand me. I don't really care about that. I respect y'all, and I would think y'all have some respect for me. You understand? No. One day stood up in it was June the 15th and June the 23rd. One was at 11 o'clock, and the other one was at 26 minutes past 1 o'clock. No. When the water truck came, this is daytime, 11 a.m. and 1 afternoon. Now, when the water truck came, mind you, people are building houses through my gap. Now, I'm saying it's unfair for you to come down through my gap, whether we have 100 people or 1,000 people living in the area, understand? Now, if you come through my gap and you come in to give one person water, the guy that was driving the truck saw me staying up in the road because I was actually about to bed. Now, I came out in my towel. Now, if you think I came out in my towel, what you could think I could possibly want? No. Out of when I stood up there recording, because it's my right to take out my phone and record, right? When I stood up recording, you know what the guy did? It was a guy and it was a woman with him with the water truck. You know what the guy did? Instead of coming back up through my gap, he reversed out of shameless and went through the other gap just because he did not want to pass in front of my house, right? This 23rd now, this is the other incident. The guy saw us recording again. You know, when we stood up in the road, my sister was out there, and when he got up by us, he stopped and asked if we got a problem. Yeah, it's obvious we got a problem. No. When he asked my sister if we want water. No, you're a water truck. I can't want juice if you're a water truck. Understand? It is totally unacceptable. The customer service, I work in the hospitality industry. You understand me? The customer service sucks. You understand me? From Water Authority, and I am saying this from the bottom of my heart. I work in the hotel industry, and if the guests want you to backflip, you gotta backflip. You understand? You gotta make sure that the customer is comfortable, because that's what they're paying you for. You understand? Right now we are paying you all for a service that we're not getting. At least let the water truck come, even if it's not every day. You understand? Even if it's not every single day. At least something, because only I'm up on mornings when my mother goes to work, my sister goes to work, my brother goes to work. I'm home at the moment, so I'm the person who has to fill up all the buckets. You understand? I have to gather the children to come out in the backyard to fill up the bottles for the bathroom. You understand? It is unacceptable. And I mean, I felt real disrespected twice to see people come through my gap and give other people water. Give someone water, sorry, not other people. One person water, and everybody else is suffering the same exact way.
I know you did. I know you indicated you didn't share them on social media, but can you please share them with us afterwards? So, no, let me explain why. If we have persons breaching the rules or not acting fairly and it's aggrieving, people.
Okay, hold on. Just a minute, please, excuse me, please. We'll be very good. We got just a few more minutes to go, and we'll be very good all night. So let's keep it going. Thank you.
People have been mentioning the poor customer service. We've already stated that we are working on it. We intend to take that in hand. If we have direct instances of it and examples of it where we can say conclusively, look, this is you, this is what you did, then we can deal with it. So that is why I'm not trying to victimize anybody in St. John. I'm not even trying to victimize a driver, but effectively a video speaks for itself. If you can share that with us, it would help us to deal with things from our end and make your experience better. So that's why I'm asking you that.
No problem, because I actually wrote down the first truck, the license plate of the first truck, because I didn't want to go close because nobody to hit me. You understand? I am recording because it's my right. So I actually wrote down the first truck, and I cannot remember the license plate of the second truck, but I will not forget the license plate of that first truck, to be honest. And the second time they came, they want to know if I have a problem. Of course I have a problem.
I understand exactly what you're saying. If you can speak to us afterwards, we'll try to get to the bottom of it. What we quite often get is people will call in and say, this happened, I saw this. When you ask them, do you know the driver? Do you have the information on your truck? If they can't give it to us, then we can't follow up on it. If you have it there, then that helps us to get to the bottom of what happened, at least provide you with an explanation. If the driver is wrong, provide you with an apology. But in any event, it will help us to to improve our systems and our customer service, and that's why we want information.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. we're going to take 2 more questions. Then we're going to try to also go through a lot of the points that were raised, many of which are similar, and try to get some answers. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
My name is Faye. I'm 60 years old, and I have a water problem the same way. Every single week I have my water, and every morning I have to wait to walk back and all sorts of things, and I need a water to come by me, and water will not come at all, and I have to get up on morning and catch my own water, and water will not come by me at all, and I ask for water and catch it all. It will not come by me at all. It's not fair that why will not come by me, no, go ahead and up by me and getting the water. I have to get every morning and catch my bottle of water every morning, and I have to make sure that I have my water catch and before water go off. And I have a problem every single day. And I say, on evenings, if water come by me, we want water, not anything, right? I will have no problem. No, water ain't coming by me at all, but God ain't getting none. And say it's not fair that the God ain't get no water, and it's not fair. And the rate, you know, the rate on money, the rate to go hill, and every morning I saw water come up, and I saw things, and up by me ain't getting any ever get up and my catch my water, and I say it's not fair. I need water to come by me to get some water, and every I have to get up and catch my own water. We don't get any. And it will come. Yeah, and I know.
Hold on, ma'am. Please, just give her a chance to finish. Please, go ahead.
And I say from Monday to Friday and Monday to Sunday, and I say if I do my stuff I have to do, and I turn around when I come home, water was off. And I said we need a truck to come down by us. We need to do that, please. And I do not understand. And I say it's not fair that water won't come by us, and I have to get up and early and catch my own water, and we're gonna have no truck to come by me at all. And it's not fair. Please do something. Thank you very much.
And one more. Please go ahead.
Good evening. I am from Hinsdale in St. John.
Go ahead.
Right, I'm from Hinsdale. If you don't know where Hinsdale is,
Give them a chance to make the point. Hazel, correct? Is it Hazel?
Hinsdale.
Oh, she's from Haynes.
Haynes Hill. It's in Coach Hill.
My apologies, ma'am.
Right. All right. Everybody said a lot of stuff. I ain't coming close because the mic, I think it should have been sterilized before. Good. The minister speak about the tank. Now we got a phone call saying that a tank was coming by our house, in Coach Hill, in here, still at the top of the hill. We look for this tank to come by us. Permission was given for the tank to be placed by my mother-in-law. Now she's blind, she's 78 years old. So they said, okay, the tank will come and be placed up there by us. So we waiting for the tank to come by us all this time. My daughter looked through the door and said, wait, Mommy, look, a tank going across the road. I said, okay. All right, so I figured they're going across the road probably to come back by us. The evening I came home from work, when I got home, somebody said, a tank was placed in Coach Hill. I still looking for this tank. Oh, no, because I didn't see the tank in Coach Hill. Because I know that the ones at the bottom of the hill usually get water. It's not a really big problem down the bottom of the hill. It's at the top of the hill But the smart persons that bought the tank carry the tank at the bottom of the hill, which don't make no sense to me. Because if you call me and tell me that you're bringing a tank at the top of the hill, I expect the tank to be at the top of the hill. The next day, I going on my way down to work. I see people down there catching water to build a house. From the same tank that's supposed to be at the top of the hill. Minister, you said you wanted permission. Permission was given, but the tank never came. The tank went down by the waterworks man. I angry, right? The tank went down by a man that does work, that used to work at the waterworks on the opposite side of his land. And he don't have water problems, and we at the top of the hill suffering bad morning, day, noon, and night. And up to now, nobody called back and said, well, we can bring another tank and put at the top of the hill. This is 5 years now, another point, that waterworks put their pipe main on my land, on our land. It run from the top of the corner coach hill, right through Haynes Hill. They said when they waited until the road to be fixed to move the pipe, a blue pipe. This is, how much years the BLP was in? 3 years now, right? We still waiting for this pipe to be buried underneath the land. The pipe at the top of the land, it was burst 3 times. 3 times this pipe was burst because of driving over the pipe. And we asked them to come and move the pipe so the pipe could start getting burst. Why can't you come and move the blue pipe from being burst all the time? Now the water ain't coming through, so you can left it. The pipe need moving and the pipe need burying. It is on top of people's land. I have a ZM van, and the weight of the van move the pipes up, move the pipe. And I asked the man from Waterworks, when you gonna come and move the pipe, and when the road finished, the road halfway done, Mr. Minister, thank you for half finishing the road. Thank you very much. But the problem is, the pipe need moving. Is going to burst if water come through that pipe, because they have a little cut already from the vehicles constantly going over the blue pipe. So I want Waterworks to come and move the pipe and bury the pipe. And next thing, I will want you to know, right? I am paying for water. I am not paying for sewage tax. That is unfair. That is unfair to Barbados, to St. John people. I don't mind paying sewage tax. Garbage tax. I don't mind paying for water that I ain't getting. But I got a problem of paying for sewage that the people out there so messing up all the time. I have a problem with that. So it is time that if you're going to deduct something, take off that tax for right now. And let me pay for just water and for the garbage tax right now.
And I think you may be the final one, although this lady you had a particular point that, okay, fine. So you and this lady this lady here, and then that lady and that. No, just this one.
Good night. I am a resident of the Sherburne No. 1 St. John. I have one question for the 4 panelists, exempt the Minister of St. John. Do you have water through your taps? And it is a yes or no question. Do you have water through your taps? I'm waiting. Do you have water through your tap? Yes. Because yes was the response that I was looking for. Yes was indeed the response that I was looking for. But today, St. John people do not have water through their taps. And yet, we did not yet have an explanation of why that we don't have water. It is indeed foolishness. How I would even explain, because right now I'm really getting angry. I mean, to the fact to explain that the water shortage in St. John is distasteful, disgusting, and just foolish. That you would insult somebody from St. John to send a water bill at their house. No, I don't pay the water bill. My grandmother does. Not me, an old woman that's 76 years old. And she does not live with anyone. So when I'm at work, when my mom is at work, who would possibly get water from my grandmother? My grandmother, right? Because you 4 can imaginably understand the situation going on in St. John. This is a situation that requires dialogue. This is ridiculous. And right now, I am just really angry at the fact that it is a year and 4 months that the residents of St. John did not have water. And we reach out through social media, the newspaper, yeah? And we did not get any sort of satisfaction. None. And when we leave here tonight, we, the residents of St. John, not only Sherburne, we are going to have a bucket bath. While the 4 panelists have a bath in a shower. How disgraceful. I mean, we as people, as Barbadians, was everybody on the panel is not a Barbadian. However, we people that are in authority, we people that are in authority should take our authority seriously, not making mockery of the poor. It is not nice. It is not nice to make mockery of people that make minimum wage. It is not kind. It is not kind. And right now I'm very, very, very angry. Many times my mother catch water. I can't catch water because I have a hand injury from a car accident in 2017. I cannot lift anything beyond 2 pounds. And I watch my mother. My mother is 60 years old. My mother, along with Auntie Marcia, go to the water tank. Every single morning. And when you hold the pipe, no water. That instance made me late for work once. One single time. And I got a warning because of that. I would be unemployed because I do not have any water. But no, the government would say, oh, no, that is not the fault of the government. That is the fault of my employer. Yeah? That's what y'all will tell me here tonight. It is not right. It is not kind. That is not fair. That tonight I go home and get a bucket bath while you put on your pretty shower. It is not right. And y'all will sit down and tell us the pretty talk. I don't want to hear the pretty talk. I have had the pretty talk for a year and 4 months. I've had it. And the tanks are not working either. The tanks are not working because nobody came to clean them. And the water authority does not fill them up 3 times a day. They do not fill them up adequately. And it's not right. It is not right, and it's not fair to the residents of St. John here tonight that you come here with the pretty talk, because that's what I'm going to hear tonight. Yes, we're going to do something about it 6 months from now, 5 months from now. But just bear in mind that the shortage of the water, it is not only a problem with shortage of the water, that causes anxiety, mental issues. Yes, we can speak to psychologists about it. It causes number of health issues. Lifting up bucket of water. It is not kind. And I don't want to hear it in 6 months. I don't want to hear it in a year. I want something to be done now. Because we had enough. A year and 6 months is too long.
No, I just want to say something.
No, hold on. Sorry.
Now, first, let me explain to you that I am not a... Second of all, I am a journalist and I ask questions.
All right, okay. Please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been very good the whole night. I've heard from the people of St. John, some of the most erudite, most articulate, most decent, polite, and well-behaved people. We're close to the end. Let's just keep it that way, right? And you made an excellent contribution. Go ahead, make a contribution. Hold on, go ahead. She gives away. All right, that's all right. She gets away. Please, go ahead.
All I wanted to say is that I just received a message that water is on in my area. And it's the first time in about 7 months that I have had PM water in my community. Water at PM in my community in about 8 months. So all I wanted to say is thanks. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Ma'am, please. All right. Thank you. Cam. Please. All right. You have the final say from the floor, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good night. I apologize for what just happened. Misunderstanding. I apologize to you for what happened as well. I hope that we can friends. Good afternoon. To Dr. Mwanza, specifically, you said that you are looking in 5 to 6 months to have water pumping from Groves up to Mount Pleasant into St. John, correct? Yes, correct? All right. So, with the increased amount of water that will be needed from Groves, which is also connected on the same stream as Hampton, will it, if the drought continues, will we have the same problem again in 5 or 6 months after January or December if the drought continues? Adding another 2 parishes to the problem. Can this be a possibility?
The catchment that we are bringing that water from is part of what is called the St. Philip catchment. St. Philip catchment. As I indicated, all the water that we get in Barbados is essentially from rainfall. So if the drought continued, then that drought might expand to affect other areas. And that is why remember what we indicated. The solution does not rest in dealing with one issue. The solution rests in a bucket of solutions. The minister indicated that part of what we are looking at is renegotiating those contracts with regard to desalination so that we could supplement that water. Essentially, the point that we want to get to is a point where we have enough capacity of 10 to 20% over what the country requires, so that if we have a drought or we have something that impacts our water supply, we have that reserve to pull on. So the answer is yes, until we build that reserve. But by also replacing the leakage in the mains, then it means what we are putting in the main is more likely to get to you and the other customers than what is happening now.
What is the protocol when dealing with complaints about persons on the front line working with people that are in St. John trying to get water? When truck drivers come out, people have already talked about the issues that they have with them, but when it actually comes to you doing something about it, what do? There was a truck driver that came out here, and Lord, I'm very glad that he does not come out here anymore. And I'm certain that if he went to any other part of St. John, most other people are happy that he's not back. But he said to us, he had 100 complaints on him in the office, and he was still out here for about 5 months. Yes, he was over here being very rude to people for 5 months, and he only got taken off, a few weeks ago? So what exactly happens? What exactly do you do, and how can you make that better for us? Because if somebody is constantly getting complaints, and they're still out here dealing with us in the same way, I'm not exactly sure how I'm supposed to have some kind of respect for how you actually deal with anything, or that you even respect us by not taking these people off the road. Because training is only one part, but when somebody is constantly a bad egg, when do you decide, this is the time to take them off?
I would have indicated, for every complaint, you require a due process. The law says you have to provide due process. And what normally happens is that when we receive a complaint, we will call in the driver and say, we have received such a complaint. what happened. The driver will give his version, and we will call the customer who made the complaint and say, can you explain what happened? And in a lot of cases, whereas customers are willing to make that report to us, they don't want to be identified at all because they think they may get victimized, and they don't provide us with the information, the backup information that is necessary for the follow-up and the necessary disciplinary action to be taken. That is why the lady that said she had the videos, we requested that she provides us with those videos because we can compare what happened on the video, speak to the driver, and even without having to talk to the customer, we are in a position where we can look at what is in the video compared to what the driver is saying, and we are in a better position to take action.
Say that this person is doing the same thing over and over again, even if they don't want to be victimized, as you say. There has to be a point where you say, yeah, there has to be a point where you say, hey, there's a pattern here, and you know what, this person needs to be dealt with even stronger than that.
Ma'am, you're the last. Thank you for your contribution, ma'am. Thank you.
Hi, good night. Just to wrap up the last question, the Barbados Meteorological Services usually issues a climate outlook, because I usually read this climate outlook, and it tells you what to expect in the coming months, which I think these government agencies need to work closer together on the departments. So what I've been reading in the last few months, starting in March, April, I've seen St. John on the water drought, on the warning, I've seen it go to watch, I've seen it go back to warning. I think that this can be used to help pre-position the distribution and how you respond to these residents, because you already know what is coming in the next few months. So I think you can use this to help aid the residents in what you're going to do to help them. With regards to the water tank, I live in Cleveland, St. John. Pre-tropical storm Dorian, the tanks were taken up, given the possibility of them being blown away through the tropical storm. The tank has not come back. So I would say that permission was given for the tank to go in that area. Everything was well and done. The pipes were there, everything. I understand due to the tropical storm, it would have been taken up, but it has not returned. Can the tank kindly return to Cleveland, St. John? Because we have not had water at Dorian was what, last year, September? Or was it last year, August? I went to Bath yesterday at the beach. Mr. Minister and panel, if y'all will see the line of people that were there waiting to bathe at the beach, that is degrading. There's a line of people waiting to bathe at the beach. In the shower, not on the beach, in the shower, to use the showers to bathe. Also, to be more hands-on, we would like to see the frontline persons of the Barbados Water Authority to be more hands-on. It would be nice to see Mr. Minister, Mr. Wanza coming out in the water trucks, interacting with people, helping, lifting buckets to old people, those sort of things. Once you come, you have to be hands-on. For us to trust you, we want to see you out there getting your hands dirty and being in it as well. Seeing the struggle that persons are living, not just coming to town hall meetings and hearing it talk and saying, this is going to be done, we're on it, we hear you. I want to see action, I want to see hands lifting. And last thing, Mr. Minister, when you start answering the questions that Stetson has, the first question I want you to answer is about finances, about the bills. Because I called Water Authority and they said that there's a base pay. There's the tax, sewage tax, whatever, and then there's a base pay you pay for water, and I understand that. However, every month, my bill still fluctuates. If there's a base pay, I expect to see $80 every single month, and I can live with that. But if I see 85, and then I see 90, and then I see back to 100, something wrong, because I ain't got no water.
I want to thank you for your contribution. I want to thank all those who spoke. Now, I just want to make one point, though. I think somebody earlier mentioned perhaps St. John was being disadvantaged because it wasn't seen as, like other areas. And maybe water went to areas that were perceived differently. I want to say one thing about that.
you may not have water, but tonight I have seen a level of politeness, decency. When it was a difficult conversation. It was to have. It's an important conversation, but it was one of those difficult conversations to have. And at times, it obviously was passionate, impassioned, forceful. But there is always, for the most part, underlying decency. And the presentations reflected a certain level of intellect, intelligence, erudition, and people were extremely articulate. I was extremely impressed. So, St. John, I was extremely impressed. And I say that honestly. What I was also hearing as well is people understanding, yes, we know about the drought, or we know the other long-term challenges, financing, etc. But there are some immediate things. There's some things that are out of your control or maybe difficult to control in the short term. But what you're saying is, what are the immediate things that you can address? Some of those things were clearly issues of the underlying thing running right through was the customer service interaction, especially the tanker service, the schedule of tankers, the number of tankers, the interaction, the manner of delivery of service by the individuals. There was a need to have a level of expertise. The minister used the word experience. An expectation of an experience that you feel you deserve as paying customers, the authority. Is that correct? Right. So, and understanding that these are complex issues, you know that over time the Water Authority is committed to addressing those issues. But you've articulated a number of concerns, especially to do with the service, and how can those things be addressed immediately? And what are those measures, mitigated measures, that can most quickly be put in place to alleviate your situation? Is that correct? So I'll turn it over now to the panel for their wrap-up comments in respect to that.
I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. Last week or so in Parliament, I mentioned the fact that I live in the valley and not on the mountaintop. Tonight, the presentations that I heard here cut like a knife. And they cut like a knife because I am part of the process. I live in St. John. Last week, I went to a funeral at a church in Messiah Street. And I was standing at the back of the room, just as some of you are doing now. And this old lady, about 75, maybe 80 years old, said to me, Mr. Griffith, we're at a funeral and there's no water in this church. But I understand it is not necessarily your problem. This 85 or 70, whatever year old woman proceeded to say, do you want my seat? At 75, 80 in a church. And I'm saying tonight that this cut like a knife because I would have campaigned on the fact that I am the blood of the blood. I campaign on the fact that home drums beat first in St. John. I am part of a government with a mantra of face it and fix it. And you would have seen Minister Abrams doing that in Christchurch. And I fully expect him to do the same thing for the residents of St. John because we deserve that. While sitting here, I was handed a petition to send on to Waterworks. And I will send it on. I got a petition in my WhatsApp about the roads in Ashford. And I signed it and I sent it on. Because I understand the plight of all of us in St. John. I live here. And regardless of what you hear, I will not move. And the water problem in St. John is a vexing problem. It is a vexing problem, and I know that as a government, as minister of the BWA, that the issues in St. John will be fixed. It was raw tonight because I saw it in the flesh. But every day, I get it on WhatsApp. When I'm on the ground with Hassani and Bush, I get it as well. And tonight, it was real. Tonight, it cut like a knife. because I am from among you and I understand the pressures and the problems as it relates to water. So me being in Parliament and saying to the country that we have a problem in St. John can never match what you did here tonight at Gore Hill, because we hear it from your heart and I am hearing it fully from you as a result, in the same way that the panel who came from the Barbados Water Authority hear it. And I will continue to press on. I will continue to do what I have to do in relation to fixing this particular problem of the water in St. John. Because like I said, our government is campaigning, or our government is dealing with a mantra of facing the problem and fixing it. And I will close now by saying this. People would have said to me that when the two videos hit social media and went viral, that it is problems for me. Can't be problems for me. Because if you know anything about community development, in order to bring about change, either the worker or the individuals must agitate for change by self or by that person who takes on the mantra, and in this case, me as MP. So when those videos went viral, what they did was to blow up and to highlight the plight that you and I are facing in the constituency of St. John. And I am suggesting to you, I am telling you tonight, until my last breath, I will be part of the blood of this constituency. And I will hear your cries in a similar vein to what happened tonight. And I will do what I have to do in the same way that I know Minister Abrams will do what is necessary. Because in Christ Church, he faced it and he fixed it. And St. John, it will happen. We will all have water flowing from our tanks again. Because I know, and if you saw the paper today, our Prime Minister, my Prime Minister, and yours said that it is an immediate problem that will be fixed. And I'm just asking you to be patient. I understand the pressure. Believe me, I understand the pressure. I preface my statement this evening by saying that I have a daughter and a family that is living in Sherburne that is being impacted just as much as I am and you are as it relates to this water problem. So I want to thank you tonight for coming. I want to thank you for being as passionate as you was, because then I am not the only one who's receiving it, but Minister Abram and his team are also understanding the dire needs of this particular situation in the constituency of St. John. And it is not now that I was involved. In 2015, I sat in a similar meeting with Mwanza, because in Edgecliff Garden, there was a problem where the whole of Edgecliff was getting water, but not the gardens. I am not averse to being in a situation like this. That is why I came, because I am from St. John and I live at Malvern Land, Edgecliff, St. John. So I know the plight of all of us. Tonight, cut like a knife. Thank you.
I wish I had spoken before Charles. St. John, I thank you for coming out in your numbers today and having a very frank conversation with us. It was a difficult conversation. I know it was a difficult conversation for you. It was a difficult conversation for us to be here on this end as well. But at the end of the day, your problems are real. We are sorry for the experience that you are having here in St. John. We have logged everything that was said. We're going to try to deal with the ones that we can deal with immediately. So the lady who has the pipe above ground that people keep driving over and bursting, please give her information as well, and we can try to deal with that next week. So the ones that are capable of immediate resolution, we are going to move to resolve them immediately. The ones that are not capable of immediate resolution, that are part of a plan or involve infrastructural development or capital works, we're going to give you timelines as best we can so you can manage your expectations for it. I am glad that the top brass of the Barbados Water Authority is here as well. It is one thing to see something on social media. It's another thing to hear somebody calling on brass tacks. But when you have living, breathing human beings venting their frustrations, then it makes the pain real. It makes the pain real. We are in the business of providing water. That is our job. Our job is to sell water. We are supposed to be providing you with water. I can't sit here. I mean, a lot of these problems are not of an immediate making. A lot of these problems existed for a long time. But the reality is, it is our hand. That hand has been dealt to me as the minister to deal with, and I plan to play the cards I have. We will resolve the issues that are facing St. John and the affected parishes. We came here intending not to dodge anything, to hear everybody fully, to make sure everybody who wanted to speak had a chance to say everything they had to say, and we have heard you. St. John, the things that we can control, you're going to see immediate improvement in it. I am not tolerating, especially where we are falling flat on the ability to actually deliver water into your pipes. That is something we can't necessarily control at this point in time, but we can control. We can control the experience that you get on the other ends. We can control the experience you get with the frontline people, with the truck drivers. We can actually look and try. I mean, I've heard everybody saying that it is hard to pay a water bill if you're not getting water. One takeaway from this has to be dealt with by our government, whether it is through the Fair Trading Commission, whether it's through some other means of trying to compensate you or make things a little bit less difficult for you, to show that we have heard you and we understand and that we are trying. Then we're going to look at the best way to deal with that as well. But the point is, you took your time to come and talk to us, and we have sat down and we have listened and we have heard you, and we will try our best to do better for you in St. John, to do the best that we can to help Charles honor his promise that you're going to get your water in your pipes. So St. John, I thank you for coming out, and I'm very glad that we were able to be here to share with you. So good night, and God bless you all.